And Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, everybody, welcome in. Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. And look at us. We don't even have to hold up. Just distract the people. I go turn the light on. We're live on Facebook, and it looks like we're in a dungeon over here.
They can't see us?
Looks like we don't pay our light bill. We're like John Cena over here.
Well, we're here live on a Hump Day Wednesday. Got a lot of cool interviews coming up, man. I'm very excited to talk to Jay Williams today.
All right, exactly. I even wore my Duke shirt today, so there's that.
Well, you didn't have to do that.
How'd Syracuse do last night?
They won their last game. They came back from 14 down and won, but their game tonight versus Louisville got postponed due to the Rona.
Yeah, starting to see a couple of those pile up around the world of college basketball. You know, there's a part of me that was like, just because some of our local teams haven't been impacted by it, Wright State had theirs early on, but UD, Wright State are rolling right now. Ohio State's cruising. In fact, they have a big showdown tomorrow with Iowa, a top 10 showdown, number 7 versus number 4. So actually that might change after Iowa's big win last night. Michigan State, I was like, it's setting up a big one between Iowa and Ohio State coming up on Thursday night. And I was like, if Michigan State, which is typically, those are the teams you worry about come tournament time anyway, are those well-coached teams like Michigan State. Like, say what you want about Duke and North Carolina and those teams right now who aren't playing well. I don't see Kentucky getting into the NCAA tournament. I mean, it's been that bad for them. But I don't want to run into those teams in the NCAA tournament. Some of Calipari's better tournament runs have come on years where he is not as loaded. The year that they got, I think it was the year they played UConn. Was it with Kemba Walker? It was Julius Randle who they had. But that team wasn't very good. Right. That was I think like a 7 or an 8 seed, in which, by the way, that's good, but that's not Kentucky standards. Right. But, those are the teams you don't want to really see come tournament time. But we're going to talk about that. We have Jay Williams, former Duke Blue Devil, part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin in the morning. He's going to join us coming up an hour from now, top of the hour, 4 o'clock. We're live on Facebook. Head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show. You can jump in on the conversation, or you can give us a call at 457-9464. But I want to talk to you about a theory that I had a while back that you said that there's no way that there's any legs to that, and that's the return of Andrew Luck. And sure enough, Andrew Luck's name was trending throughout the NFL world today. I know a lot of people in Indianapolis are upset because, look, I don't think anyone looks at Matthew Stafford as like, oh my, we're a Matthew Stafford away. But I believe that the Colts are a legitimate quarterback away from being there. Look, I think it was Phillip Rivers had like a 97-point-something quarterback rating with that offensive line that the Colts have, and Phillip Rivers wasn't he was old Phillip Rivers. He wasn't the old Phillip Rivers, and he still had a pretty solid season, especially once he stopped turning the ball over. The Colts are they're just sitting there waiting. They have all the, when you talk about the quarterbacks like, Aaron Rodgers, and you look around the league and everyone's complaining because they don't have enough weapons here. They don't have enough weapons. The Colts are just waiting. They're waiting for a quarterback to come in to put under center behind that offensive line. They'll address the run game this offseason. There's talks of, they want to bring back T.Y. Hilton and pair him with Godwin from the Buccaneers. That's going to be their number one, target heading into the offseason. I'm like, you know what? The Colts are very interesting if they can get a quarterback. And there is talks and there's reports and there's rumors out there that Andrew Luck could possibly at least be having conversations with the Colts behind the scenes. And I think that is huge. I've always thought that, actually my hot take a while back was that Andrew Luck would come out of retirement, but it would be to join the New England Patriots. But obviously I think he still has another 2 years left on his original deal with the Colts that he signed a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. But if he comes out of retirement, this would be, it wouldn't just be him coming into a bad situation. I think all the stars would have aligned perfectly. The Colts could have tanked last year. They could have said, look, we're going to sign Phillip Rivers, or we could just trade away all of our assets like the Jaguars did, and we'll tank, and we'll try to get Trevor Lawrence, and we'll try to start this all over again like we did with Andrew Luck. Or we can continue to keep this offensive line intact. We can continue to keep our offensive and defensive weapons intact. And then from there, we would be able to, maybe be an interesting landing spot, because there's a lot of quarterback movement that is going to be happening. It's already started between the Rams and the Lions. I think that the Colts are interesting. If Andrew Luck does come out of retirement, it wouldn't be a bad situation. It would be the perfect situation for him, because the whole reason he retired is because of how much he got beat up early in his career. But he wouldn't be getting beat up right now with the Colts. He would have the most protection he's ever had since being with the Indianapolis Colts. So I like the idea of it happening. This was Israel, when they were Irsay, their general manager, talking about Andrew Luck just a week ago. He says that he knows how much we'd love to have him be our quarterback. There's no question about that. He said on Wednesday, this was to USA Today. But at the same time, we know for it to work out, he has to be the one that says, you know what, I'm ready. I want to really create a little bit of history and unprecedented aspects. He goes on to say that we don't want to be annoying by always saying, hey, there's no point to that. Israel said, he knows that we'd love to have him back, but only he could decide that. And right now he's retired. Well, everyone knows that if it happens on social media, that it's gospel, correct? Right. There's some random dude, like I wouldn't have given this any time, but I've seen this tweet float around on First Take, on The Herd. Shows are giving this a little bit of light, so I figure, you know what, I don't really like highlighting a tweet like this, but it's some random guy named Mike. Okay, on Twitter.
Mikey?
Yeah, maybe. He says that my wife has a mutual friend with Nicole's best friend, which is the wife of Andrew. Now, again, this is very TMZ-esque, okay? I'm telling you right now. I'm not really proud of myself right now, but I'm going here anyways. He says, I think that this answers a lot of questions. This was this past Sunday. So it's just it's a text back and forth between it's the best friend of the wife of Andrew Luck, and the wife is basically saying that, hey, he was in Indy this past weekend. He met with the Colts, and they're just in the feeling out process to see what would need to be done. Again, no official reports. This isn't out, Sal Palantonio from ESPN breaking this, or Todd McShay, or anyone like that. This is simply some random dude named Mike. But that is why when you go on Twitter and you see that he is trending, it's because of this random thing. Like, these look like real text messages. I mean, look, I can go on here and make fake text messages, screenshot it, and say, oh man, a friend of mine that walks the dog for the aunt of the cousin of the best friend of Andrew Luck. Like, we could play this game all day, folks. Right. But the bottom line is there seems to be some legs here, and there was a lot of chatter about this even before this came out. I don't know how much legitimacy there is to this, but I am kind of curious where this goes. I think it makes a lot of sense. If he was to come out of retirement, this would make a lot of sense right now. The Colts need him. He wants to come back into football possibly. And if you want to come back to the Colts a year from now or 2 years from now, you may not have that opportunity. This may be Andrew Luck's last opportunity to come back to football, to come back to the team that drafted him and play for the team that he loves in the Colts. I could see this happening, Kev. And then in the AFC, look the hell out, because the AFC is absolutely loaded at that point.
So let me start by saying this. We all know a guy, don't we?
No, named Mike, right?
We all know a guy that's connected, by 3 degrees of separation.
If you have a guy to fix my laptop, that'd be, right as I said that, it worked. Okay, continue. I was interrupting. It wouldn't turn on for the whole start of the show. I'm like, what the heck?
I do have a guy for that.
Yeah,
but I know a guy 3 degrees separated from LeBron James, and I've heard things from him that are weird to me. Like, he was the first person to tell me that he was coming back to the Cavs, like when he left Miami. Now, this was like days after the finals. And of course, I'm like, for what? Why would that? It's like, man, that's what we hearing. And it actually happened. So I'm not going to discredit this guy, because we all know people. Like, we know people that are into recruiting and everything like that, who knew that Von Bell was going to sign with Ohio State over Georgia weeks in advance. And it came out to be true. So I'm not going to discredit the guy. I'll just say this. Andrew Luck is about to be 32 years old. And that's not old, especially for a quarterback in the NFL, especially the way quarterbacks are protected. I will say this about him. He was a very good quarterback when he played. I still just don't know if he really has the desire to come back and to take that beating that he took before. And I know they upgraded the offensive line, but this is still football. At the end of the day, it's a very violent sport. I don't know if he really wants to come back. I would have to hear more than just a random tweet floating out there.
But it's Mike.
Oh, that's
Mike on Twitter.
That's right.
So his texts look real.
Yeah, exactly. So I would need to hear something else besides, he was in Indianapolis talking to the regime. Like, I would have to hear something else before I would jump in 2 toes deep.
All right, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The bottom line is regardless of whether you are a Colts fan or not, this is what I love about the NFL is so interesting to me. It's not regional.
Right.
If it's regional to you, that means you're not a diehard NFL fan. You may be passionate about your team, but I'm not a Colts fan by any means, and I'm obsessed with this news. I don't really care at all about the Lions or the Rams, but I thought the Matthew Stafford for Jared Goff trade was fascinating this past weekend. Like, that's how much I love the National Football League. But if you look at the movement in the AFC right now, the NFC is old, dusty, and there doesn't seem to be a lot of teams going and trending in the right direction. All right, if you look in the NFC East, you start there. The Cowboys, you don't even know what's going on, how they're trying to operate as far as getting a deal done with Dak Prescott. And if they get that deal done with Dak Prescott, who's going to be right there? Is it going to be all the naysayers that said the Cowboys are going to make a mistake if they give him that max money? Or if they don't give it to him and he goes elsewhere, will he go ball it out somewhere else and make the Cowboys look foolish? I mean, we're keeping an eye on that situation. The Giants, there were spurts of Daniel Jones that you liked, but you had no idea. Philadelphia Eagles, they're a train wreck right now. If you have two quarterbacks, do you even have one?
Right.
That's always the adage for them. Washington, who knows what's going on there? I actually like their base. I like their defense, and I like their head coach in Ron Rivera. But the NFC North, the Bears, there's question marks there at quarterback. The Lions are rebuilding. The Packers are relevant right now, but we don't know. I mean, that's a 2-year window maybe, right? The Vikings are just the Vikings. Good quality team that could score, going to get some wins. No one's looking at them to be Super Bowl favorites. The Falcons are about to embark on a rebuild here within the next season or two. I know they're trying to see what they could do with that Matt Ryan contract. The Panthers, you don't know what they have. The Saints are about to lose their franchise quarterback. It sounds like they might move in the direction of Jameis, but you just don't know what to expect there. The Buccaneers, they're on borrowed time with Tom Brady. You don't know how much longer this is going to last, another season or two. The Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Who knows? Who knows what happens there? The Rams just traded for Stafford. They're going all in for the next 2 years. San Fran not set on their quarterback, and Seattle always feels confident when they have Russell Wilson. But there is nothing definitive. There's nothing I'm very confident. I don't like the NFC. There's nothing I'm comfortable. If someone said you have to put money on an NFC team to win a Super Bowl, there's not one team in there that I feel comfortable doing that with, including the team that's playing in the Super Bowl coming up this Sunday in the Bucs. But look over at the AFC, Kev. I mean, the Buffalo Bills, new blood, just coming onto the scene now with Josh Allen, who had an MVP-level season, who kind of came, basically emerged as a star. The Dolphins, they feel like they're trending in the right direction, and they don't even know definitively who their quarterback is, yet they still won 10 games. They have a fantastic coach, and there you go. Bill Belichick and the Patriots, they don't even have to have a quarterback to be interesting. They were the most interesting 7-win team this season. Like, everyone their eyes were glued to the Patriots because you just wanted to see what's going on there. The Jets, train wreck, but I like the coach hire. I like the hiring of the head coach. They have the number 2 overall pick. They have a lot of picks and they have a lot of draft capital. We'll see how quickly they could build that. Baltimore Ravens, they have Lamar Jackson. All right, the Bengals have Joe Burrow, so they feel like they're trending in the right direction. Pittsburgh is one of the best organizations in football, and the Cleveland Browns have Baker Mayfield, and they just ended a 25-year playoff winless drought, an 18-year playoff drought at that. Texans are a mess, but the Colts. Okay, the Colts end up getting Andrew Luck.
Right.
The Jaguars feel like they're going to go places with Trevor Lawrence and Urban Meyer. The Titans are solid. All right. Then you look at the Chiefs. That's the dynasty for the next 3, 4, 5 years. The Chargers feel good about Justin Herbert, and the Raiders, there's a ton of talk right there about right now. That's where Deshaun Watson is most likely going to end up as we currently sit here right now. The Raiders are doing a lot of movement behind the scenes to get that done. I'm intrigued by that, by the way.
Big time.
The bottom line is the AFC is the most interesting division in football, and it could even get bigger if some of these moves pan out.
Yeah, man, it's going to be a lot of quarterback movement, and that move of Deshaun Watson and potentially going to the Las Vegas Raiders, I would look at the Miami Dolphins like, what are you doing? Like, you have more capital than the Las Vegas Raiders. If y'all really want Deshaun, y'all need to make sure it happens. But I mean, yeah, man, like I was going to say they just drafted to it, but shoot, we just saw what happened with the Cardinals. They gave up on their young quarterback. The Rams gave up on Goff after giving him a contract after he led them to a Super Bowl. So it's to the point now where it doesn't matter. Like, if you think you can win and you think you can turn around your team quickly, teams are willing to do it no matter what they got to give up.
All right, 457-9464. As I mentioned, you don't even have to be a Colts fan to be excited about this potential rumblings. There's not even official reports. I mean, we're going full TMZ mode today. Some guy named Mike tweeted something out about these potential fake text messages, but we're rolling with it because I really want it to happen. You roll your eyes every time I bring it up. It's just... And that's what I love about the NFL is you don't have to be a Colts fan or an Andrew Luck fan to know that that's just good for the
it's
sport.
great for the league. Better quarterback play. better for the league. And, he's an outstanding quarterback. For everything that we know about Andrew Luck, which isn't much, I just don't see him as a guy that lives and breathes and dies with football. Like how we think that Tom Brady does, like, or even Peyton Manning for that matter. Like, these guys, this is their identity. I never viewed Andrew Luck as football being his identity. I mean, the pieces that he used to run for him on College Game Day, it rarely was about football. It would be about his engineering degree, about his book club that he had at Stanford. About how he was around the game of football, from his father being involved in football and everything like that. Like, it rarely was about football. So maybe this is the perception that he wants to give off, like that I'm more than football. But everything that I perceive to know about him, he's more than just a football player.
David Shaw chimes in, says that the Dolphins have already said that they are happy with Tua. Well, they're not going to come out and say, no, we're not happy with Tua. I know what Shaw's trying to say is that they've come out, but a lot of, teams come out and they say things. They're going to say the politically correct, not politically correct. They're going to play the political game here and just say all the right things.
Yeah, that vote of confidence for their guy. Yeah. I mean, we saw that Tom Herman got the vote of confidence after they won their bowl game, and then he got fired. So
hook him downwards.
Yeah, so if they're cool with Tua, that's on them. But hey, man, I would give Tua up and a first-round pick for Deshaun Watson.
Absolutely. I think that the Dolphins are very close. But again, they went all in on Tua. And if I'm the Dolphins and you have all these high draft picks, I think that they're okay with Tua, but I think they want to be okay with Tua.
Right.
I think they're trying to convince themselves. And by the way, I was high on Tua a year ago. I said that he was going to be the best quarterback of this rookie class, and I'm dead wrong, because I think right now if I had to rank them, it's Justin Herbert, Joe Burrow, and Tua. If Joe Burrow stays healthy all season, it's possibly for me Joe Burrow, Justin Herbert, and Tua. But Tua was okay. He wasn't terrible.
Yeah, like his first start, I mean, what did you expect him to do? Like, his defense scored 3 touchdowns in his first start. Yeah. So he wasn't about to be out here throwing dimes. And I really respect the way that they handled it. It was almost kind of like old school, where
it was cool seeing the quarterbacks get along on the sideline.
Yeah, too. It was sort of like, hey, man, Fitzpatrick is going to take you under his wing and help you become a professional quarterback, as opposed to, nowadays you just drop them into the fire and sink or swim.
All right, 457-9464. We'll step away for a few moments and we'll dive back into this more as more and more comes out of this. But yeah, it's exciting in the NFL right now. This is like an NBA type of offseason, and the NFL is already the most popular sport. This is going to take it to the next level. Robert Miller on Facebook says the Panthers are going to draft Mac Jones. Robert, where are the Panthers in the draft order? Pulling that up now just to get an idea. And look, they need a quarterback, and Mac Jones really impressed at the Senior Bowl. And they said that, with no combine this year, this is the opportunity for some of these younger players to shine. So I think that, anyone that takes Mac Jones, there's going to be a lot of confidence in it. Where I saw him going was number 15. To the New England Patriots. Number 8. Right now in Mel Kiper's latest mock draft, Kev, at number 8, they have the Carolina Panthers taking Trey Lance from North Dakota State. But that's, again, assuming he has Carolina taking Trey Lance from North Dakota State, because Mel Kiper had the Lions taking Justin Fields the pick before them. I would be very surprised to see multiple quarterbacks taken before Justin Fields, Kev. Like, it's one thing to see Trevor Lawrence go. I think that's a given. And it's one thing, the kid from BYU, he could possibly go before Justin Fields. But I don't think you're going to see Trevor Lawrence, the kid from BYU. I don't think you're Zach Wilson. I don't think you're going to see Trevor Lawrence, Zach Wilson, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, and then Justin Fields. I have a hard time believing that. But anything can happen come draft day. For what?
I got a question. Justin Fields has played about 20 games at Ohio State, right? Bad game against Indiana, bad game against Northwestern, and we'll just say a bad game versus Bama. He's had 3 bad games. 3 bad games. I believe that Sunshine had more than 3 bad games.
Not to that level, though.
I just think, yes, those games that Justin Fields had were bad games, But man, they're treating him like he's the only quarterback out there to ever have a bad game. I'm just quite alarmed at the rate that he seems to be dropping, like on everybody's, mock drafts and everything like that. I've seen as low as like 15 and stuff like that, and it was like, man.
It's better for him, though. But no, I know what you're saying. It's disrespectful, though, because the further you go in the draft, that is signifying that, hey, we don't value you at the top of the draft, when really that's where the best players go. I think what hurt Justin Fields versus Trevor Lawrence, Kev, is you talk about Trevor Lawrence's bad games. We're talking about 3 years of Trevor Lawrence with bad games potentially sprinkled in there. Mm-hmm. And with Justin Fields, he was so damn good his first year. I don't think, he played okay in the Clemson game last year, not this most recent one. But, people that think that he outplayed Trevor Lawrence in that game, I totally disagree. I mean, when you have such a big lead and you let a team go 21-0 run on you and you don't score at all in that midst, that's up to the quarterback, gets the finger pointed at them for that. But I think because Justin Fields, all of his bad games happen to come within a 2-month span. That's what's working against him versus Trevor Lawrence probably has just as many questionable games as Justin Fields, but those are sprinkled in over a 3-year period to where, unfortunately, Justin Fields had his worst games within a 2-month period. You know what I mean? Like, not right or wrong, but we are all it's all that recency bias thing. But you're 100% correct. Trevor Lawrence didn't look like Superman every single week.
Right. And I would argue that I don't know if anybody had the game that he had versus Clemson this year. I know that Mac Jones put up a ton of yards and dismantled our defense like everybody else did this season. But I would bet that he had probably a top 5 game of any quarterback this season, man. He balled out in that Clemson. Justin Fields. Yeah. Like, I just get a little weary of that. And don't get me wrong, I'm not a draft aficionado. Like, we talked about this off the air. I watched 2 BYU games this year. I couldn't tell you anything that this kid did outside of the Coastal Carolina game and the Boise State game because I didn't watch. I caught the highlights, and highlights are just that, highlights, the good parts. You know what I mean? So they're the professionals. They break all the film down. They're going to pick who they pick. I just find it quite alarming that, like, they're dropping this dude like he's a bum. Like, man, like, because, we were talking about this last year. Like, if he would have came out, he'd been a first-round pick. So you mean to tell me he's not a first-round pick now? Like, I think he showed a lot of development, especially in that Clemson game, the ability to find the check down as opposed to hanging onto the ball a long time. And I think that's like his biggest problem, that Justin Fields tends to hang onto the ball for a long time, which leads to interceptions, which leads to sacks. He didn't do that in the Clemson game. If the second and third read weren't there, he checked it down to the running back, and the running backs picked up chunk plays. I think that we get enamored with looking at a guy and we want this guy to be a finished product coming out of college, but it just don't work like that. When guys get to the NFL, it's up to the coaches to coach them up to their full potential. And I think Justin Fields, if he goes to the right spot, can be a superstar in the NFL.
Here's the problem, though: the perception of when you draft a rookie quarterback now, it's not like we debate this all the time. We're going on doing this show together for almost about a year now, and I don't know how many times we've had the argument of, there's no such thing as rebuilding with rookie quarterbacks anymore. Like, this notion that the Bengals, it's just year one. No, it's year 1 of 4. You have 4 years to make something happen, and you can't slow down in that stretch. That was my biggest frustration. But if Justin Fields has flaws, teams are going to be hesitant to draft a rookie quarterback that has flaws, because if they're going to take you that high in the draft, they're going to want to start you, and they want you to have as little flaws as possible, because they're going to go all in financially to plug holes, because they know that's the only time they're going to have the flexibility to do so. That's the concern. The only other thing about the Clemson game, that yes, he did ball out, but he was hurried 3 times. I don't think the debate is about his progression reads or being able to throw, but it is when he gets pressure on him. And you'd have to think that if he goes to the Jets or he goes to the Jaguars or any team
right
at the top, that offensive line's not going to be good. There's going to be a lot of pressure on him. I think that's where the concerns come in. So yes, he played great against Clemson, but he had time. But see, that's where it's like these guys are screwed. It's, you played well, but you had time to throw. And then when they don't have time to throw and they're running for their life and making bad decisions on the run, then we criticize them for that when their line's breaking down for them. So again, we can nitpick all we want. Right. Bottom line is, I still think he's better than the kid from BYU, and that's just the typical lazy,
Buckeye fan. Yeah. See, he is a Buckeye fan. See, you do love the Buckeyes.
No, I'm not a rational observer. Just put it that way. We'll be back in a moment, folks. 457-9464. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 32. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 20. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with rain, a high near 42. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
For the ones who know safety isn't a catchphrase, it's a culture. And the ones who help make sure everyone makes it home safe. For the safety-minded who watch everyone's backs, Grainger offers supplies and solutions for every industry, as well as safety assessments and training to keep your facilities safe and your people safer. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on.
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
When you bundle your home, auto, and life insurance with Allstate, you could save.
What if I bundle my auto, home, and life insurance?
That works.
How about my home, life, and auto insurance?
However you want to bundle it, Allstate can help you save with it.
See just how much you can save when you bundle. In the Springfield and surrounding area, call me, Dave Mowdy, at 325-2474, right across the street from Frisch's on East Main Street.
Not available in every state. Prices vary based on how you buy. Subject to terms and conditions. Not applicable in California. Plus the company identifiers. AFIC, ADPIC, Allstate Insurance Company and Affiliates, Northbrook, Illinois. Allstate Life Insurance Company of New York, Hauppauge, New York.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Listen to this radio station on the radio.com app anytime, anywhere. Listen to more than 300 stations along with more than 3,000 podcasts from your home area or across the U.S., all free.
With the radio.com app.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
DSC. There are so many razors out there. How do you choose which one's right for you? Well, at Dollar Shave Club, we got you. With a 6-blade cartridge for daily shavers with short hair and a 4-blade cartridge for less frequent shavers with longer hair. Still confused? Well, we put both blades in one new starter box, so you can test drive both. Check out dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, dollarshaveclub.com/ESPN, and visit DSC at your nearest store. You've got questions, we got answers. Welcome to the club.
Now at a store near you. Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Dealing with battery problems? We can help you out and get you ready for the colder weather ahead. Let's start with a free battery test. If you just need a free charge, we can help with that too. And if it's time for a new battery, we've got replacement batteries that fit your needs, starting at just $79.99. That's what makes us America's #1 battery destination. Claim based on data from the NPD Group 2019.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
New to the Wendy's 2 for $5 lineup is their classic chicken sandwich. Go grab a 2 for $5 deal and pick 2 faves like a Dave Single Nugs and now the classic chicken sandwich 2 for $5. Price and participation may vary, limited time.
Attention men under the age of 35. You know what really impresses the ladies? When a guy has a few drinks and later gets pulled over for buzz driving. That could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. There goes let's grab dinner and a movie. Oh, I know. You drive more carefully when you're buzzed. You've proven that hundreds of times. A woman admires that kind of confidence. And you've practiced how to speak if a cop does pull you over. Slowly, clearly, and politely like, "Good evening, officer." A woman admires that kind of foresight. And what woman doesn't find it adorable that you call it buzzed even though the law calls it drunk? You can kiss $10,000 goodbye, along with any chance of having a girlfriend. Because nothing says I'm a catch more than a guy who lives in his parents' basement and calls it my place.
Buzzed, busted, and broke. Because buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
Take a look under your bed. Find stuff under there? What about jobs? No? Now try your basement. There's a pair of overalls that overall you're not so into anymore. A perfectly good laptop that hasn't sat in your lap in months. And even more stuff, but still no jobs? Well, you really have both. See, stuff is defined as household articles considered as a group. Sometimes this stuff is no longer needed. Wait, no longer needed? That can't be right. Because remember those jobs you were looking for? Those are really needed, and they're the stuff inside your stuff, even inside that winter coat that moved with you to Phoenix. Our job is to unlock those jobs, and it starts when you donate your stuff to your local Goodwill. Here's how we do it. When you donate to Goodwill, we sell your stuff to provide job training for people right here in your community. So just by teaming up with Goodwill, you help create jobs. And isn't that worth parting with the leftover guitar from your 80s cover band? Goodwill. Donate stuff, create jobs. Find your nearest donation center at goodwill.org. A message from Goodwill and the Ad Council.
There are many ways to catch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. You can catch it live right here on 1410 Wing AM, or you can stream the show at wingam.com. But now we have another way that you can take in the show. You can now watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live on ESPN Dayton's Facebook page. Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER. And ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash, back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. We got a big guest list coming up for you here today. Former Duke Blue Devil, now with ESPN Radio, part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin in the morning. Jay Williams going to join us coming up here at 4 o'clock. Excited to talk with him. I have to let him know that Kev's a fan of Syracuse. I do need to make sure I get that in. So there's that. But excited to talk a little college basketball with him. It's such a strange year. It's rare to see North Carolina, Kentucky, or Duke out of the top 25, Michigan State for that matter. It's rare for any season to have one of those four out, and all four of them are out in the same season. Like that's just beyond bizarre to me, and I'm curious his thoughts as to why that is, because I don't like hearing that that COVID could be why these teams are struggling. If teams like Baylor and teams like Gonzaga, if teams like Drake and Toledo and others can all have success through COVID, why can't they? So I'm not a fan of those who try to say, it's a throwaway year just because their team's not playing at a high level, because I guarantee you if the team was playing well, it wouldn't be a throwaway. It's just, I get it though. It's easy just to, when things aren't going well, like for Ohio State this year, when they didn't look as sharp, we just did that one, maybe not me and you, but fans right away. Well, no preparation. They only had a day here, which again, there's excuses and reasons. I'm stealing that from Greeny, by the way, because that's always my big, I hate that. Anytime you bring up something as to why something happened, you're making excuses. I love that from Greeny. There's excuses and there's reasons. And I think it's a little bit of both when it comes to why your team struggles throughout this last season. It's either, yes, maybe because of the pandemic, but maybe just because your team's not as good as you thought.
People that's using that throwaway line are losers.
Oh,
plain and simple. Look,
at one, Kev Nash.
Yeah,
folks.
Because guess what? If your team was balling and they cut down the net, let's just say you're a person that's out here saying, this is a throwaway year, and your favorite team makes the NCAA tournament and cuts down the nets and is a national championship. You're gonna go buy your national championship T-shirt and hat and brag to all your friends that we're the national champions. So it can't be a throwaway year if it goes your way.
One shining moment, baby.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You can't try to play and say it's a throwaway year when it's not going your way. And then if it does go your way, I knew it the whole time. We persevered.
I was just gonna say they persevered through all the obstacles that COVID presented. Yeah,
they're out there playing, so it's a real season. Plain and simple. The NBA played a season. Baseball played a season. We're about to have the Super Bowl. I may not like it. I may think the whole NFL debacle with the Ravens and the Steelers and the Titans and the Browns, I think that was unfair to those teams. But guess what? They agreed to play. They played it out. We're about to get a champion. Whoever wins it is the champion of the 2020 season. And yeah, we can say, yeah, man, that was a crazy season, man. It was a COVID year. But I'm not going to be out here and say, oh, man, it wasn't a real season. I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. We got embarrassed in our playoff game. It was a real game for me. Trust me, I was mad.
No, I hear you. Trust me. And again, I'm excited. Look, we have Jay Williams coming up here at 4:00. We're definitely going to dive into that with him because I'm curious his thoughts as far. I mean, like him being a former player, I can imagine, his perspective of playing when things are normal versus trying to, rewind all the way back to his playing days, imagining putting himself in this situation, just how different it would be. So again, Jay Williams coming up here at 4:00, top of the hour. We're also going to talk a little National Signing Day here for some of our local stars. We're going to highlight some of our local Dayton signees, and I'm excited to bring on Jared Luginbill at 5:00. He's with Prep Zone. He's Prep Redzone, Ohio. He's going to be calling in at 5:00 just to give us the latest on some of our local football stars here and where they've signed and committed to. And I'm pretty pumped about that. Because, look, it's been cool working with Keith Byers the last couple of years doing high school football on Friday nights. And it's been, we've predominantly been doing GWAC games. But, to see is that you or me? Oh, that's you.
Yeah,
no, you're good. But to see the stars up close to call the games and then to kind of see where they're going to take their talents elsewhere, it's pretty cool. So we're going to talk about that coming up with Jared Luginbill. But let's get back to what we were originally talking about. We have some callers on hold we're going to get to. Somehow we transitioned into the Justin Fields conversation about, just how far down he could potentially fall in the draft. And I'm seeing more and more mock drafts out there that continue to have him dropping more and more. And, maybe there is a little, I don't like homers. I can't stand homers. And for those of you who have listened to me, whether it's when I started out just doing Sundays or filling in, I have been criticized amongst many in this city for not being willing to go all in to be a homer, whether it's the Dayton Flyers, the Ohio State, but I refuse to be a homer. I refuse to just tell people what they want to hear. I look at it as what it is. But maybe the most homer thing I've ever done is look at this field in the draft, or look at Justin Fields heading into this draft and say, there's no way that there are that many quarterbacks better than him. I feel like my homerism, I did a pretty good job saying, hey, I would still take Trevor Lawrence over Justin Fields any day. But I'm not going to take the kid from BYU over Justin Fields, and even Mac Jones. I don't care how much he balled out in the national championship game, unless he has 5 Devontae Adams or Smiths to throw to in the NFL. I don't anticipate to see Mac Jones just tear it up in the NFL the way he just did. We've seen quarterbacks tear it up in college. That doesn't, translate well over to college. I mean, Justin Fields looks the part. He looks the part. He's been labeled the part since he, first originally committed to Georgia. I just have a hard time believing, as you said, seeing him drop to 15 at times. Mm-hmm. I can't do that. But we're getting mixed reaction on here as far as why we could potentially be seeing some of this. I'm curious your thoughts on this one. Ryan Strauss on Facebook says, history of OSU quarterbacks in the NFL also working against him. Who was the last good pro quarterback produced? And really, there's not one. I mean,
Mike Tomczak.
Yeah, and that's how far back you have to go. But as far as great quarterbacks, none.
Right.
And it's okay. It's fine to say that. But I don't like, because you're only producing quarterbacks like Mike Tomczak from decades and decades ago, that's why Justin Fields won't be good in the NFL. I don't buy into that. But at the same time, I understand why when you're dealing with human beings and, you're talking about their minds and how it works, I think that could play a role into it too. But, you could say the same thing about Alabama and Mac Jones, and yet Mac Jones is working his way up the leaderboard. So we shall see.
Yeah, there's no question that all this stuff plays into the draft process. I personally may think it's stupid, but there's no doubt about it. We talked about this before about how, how a person wears their hair is how they're going to be drafted. Like, these things are stupid. And it wouldn't even surprise me if Trevor Lawrence, took his hair down a couple notches before the draft, because these people are idiots, because they actually think their hair has something to do with how they play football. For me, I think it's also stupid that people would try to lump anything that Justin Fields has done at Ohio State in with what Terrell Pryor did at Ohio State, with the way Troy Smith played in the pros, how Dwayne Haskins played in the pros. You know, these are individuals. These are individuals. They're not coming off an assembly line. Just because this person played the same position doesn't mean he's going to act the same way another person did. They're individuals. And furthermore, you know, a lot of these other guys are being coached by different guys. You know, Tressel coached Troy Smith and Terrell Pryor. Urban Meyer coached JT Barrett. Like this thing goes decades. I know schools get famous for what they quote unquote produce the most, you know, Ohio State, DBU, offensive line, U, wide receiver, U, and all that type of stuff. But at some point, that stuff has to change. At some point, you know, you do have to break through with a star quarterback. And I think Justin Fields can do that.
And I think he's the most equipped to do it. To be honest with you, when you look at the NFL game today, it's not just dropping back and being a drop back passer. You have to be able to make plays with your legs. I mean, when you look around, I mean, that's the thing about Tom Brady right now is, you know, he has an offensive line to protect him. But a lot of these, I mean, look at Lamar and others. They didn't have the best offensive lines coming into football. I mean, the Ravens, their offensive line is not one of the best in footballs. It's not bad, but it's not one of the best in footballs. But because of the athleticism of Lamar Jackson, when things start to collapse, he's able to extend the play and keep it going. And that's what you want to see in the NFL right now. Instead of drop back, you know, a couple step drop back, and then all of a sudden the play collapses and that's it, you're done. Now you have these versatile quarterbacks who drop back, have the capability to pass, play breaks down. Now they can make a play with their legs and extend the play and get yardage out of the situation. That's what the team, you know, that's what teams like right now. That's why Josh Allen has taken off a little bit this past year. You know, you look at him, you look at this big, tall guy, you think he's just going to drop back and just throw it all over the field, which he's capable of. But he was one of the best running quarterbacks in the league this year. Baker Mayfield, no one looks at him as a runner. Some of the biggest plays he made this season came on third down, third and short, third and long, and he made plays with his legs. As crazy as that, you have to be able to make plays with your legs. And can those other quarterbacks do that? We know Justin Fields can. We've seen him do it many, many times at Ohio State. Back to the phones we go, 457-9464. Let's go to Nolan. Nolan, thanks for holding.
Hey, you guys already touched on what I called in to talk about, the OSU quarterbacks just not being that great. And
so the reputation just kind of working against them a little bit. And see, we see it work in the opposite ways too. We see, you know, defensive backs, as Kev talked about DBU, we'll see defensive backs get an opportunity just because they went to a certain school, and you know, it doesn't always work out. But here it's working the opposite. It's because they've never produced a good one, we're not trusting this process yet.
Yeah, I was thinking the last quarterback to even start a whole season from Ohio State, I'm pretty sure was Craig Krenzel.
I don't think did he start a whole season
for the
though?
Bears?
Yeah, I thought he started.
Yeah, he did.
He got one full season in.
His second one. I think he got hurt on his first year.
Well, what do we know? We thought Matthew Stafford was the quarterback of the 0-16 Lions, and then they said Dan Orlovsky. And so we have no clue what the hell we're talking about half the time. No, but you're right, and I think it's a legitimate concern to have. But at the same time, when you what's the number one reason Ohio State has taken off over this last 5 or 6 years? Their offense, their ability to, spreading it out and not having that, the option and all that stuff, being dry with it. I mean, it really started with Terrell Pryor a little bit too, but their ability to spread it out to make plays down the field. I mean, I do think that that's what's made Ohio State a little bit more, interesting as well. There's a reason they're getting some of the top receivers in football right now, and it's not because they have bum quarterbacks. It's because they have quarterbacks that they know are going to get them the ball and make them stars.
Yeah, but maybe it's their quarterback process that just isn't converting to the NFL. But they have a new coach now, so.
No, that's fair enough. Absolutely. That's so where do you think he ends up? Where do you think he gets drafted?
I think he goes too, but I don't think he'll be worth it.
You don't think so? Are you a Buckeye fan?
No.
And that's fine. I'm just curious.
Fan of football.
Fan of football. Okay. No, that's fair. I don't know if he goes number 2 because I don't know if the Jets go quarterback. But I do, I would be surprised if he's not the second. But I would be surprised if he's not the second quarterback taken off the board, I guess.
Yes.
So fair enough. Hey, Nolan, I appreciate you calling, man. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Take care. Bye. No, what he's bringing up, that concern, it's not that crazy because it's the same concern that's also being discussed in ownership meetings and general manager meetings and coaches meetings in the NFL right now too. So that does exist. I'm with you, Kev. I don't think it's a good reason to jump in and say that that's why you shouldn't draft Justin Fields. I do, like I said, the Clemson game, I know everyone said, that's what put him back in the number 2 spot. The problem is no one denies that he could throw the ball. No one denies his accuracy. No one denies his athletic ability and his ability to extend plays and make plays with his legs. The criticism for Justin Fields is how he responds when there's pressure on him. He had 3 hurries on him against Clemson, so he was never put in a situation where we had to see him react to that. Hell, Clemson's best defender was out, which no boo-hooing. That happened to Ohio State a year ago. But you see, that's a realistic thing to consider.
Yeah, for sure. But my biggest thing with that, he threw interceptions with pressure on him. That's what every quarterback does. Tom Brady threw 3 interceptions in the NFC Championship game, not because he threw bad passes, because he had pressure on him. He threw interceptions in the Super Bowl against the New York Giants because they got pressure on him. Any quarterback that gets pressure on him isn't going to make the best decisions in the world. And we all agree that Tom Brady is a GOAT. And in that second half, when the Green Bay Packers got pressure on him, he threw interceptions. So I'm not going to put everything on all right, man, when he get pressure on him, man, he throws interceptions. Okay, that's fine. So let's look at some of the things that he has improved on throughout the season, but checking down instead of hanging on to the ball a ton. And the whole thing about Ohio State not producing quarterbacks, I mean, we got starting quarterbacks in the NFL from everywhere. We got Russell Wilson, starting quarterback. He's from Wisconsin / North Carolina State. We got Josh Allen, Wyoming. I don't necessarily believe there's a hotbed for QBs. This is QBU. I guess Oklahoma would be that with Baker and Kyler. But I don't view it that way. I view everybody on an individual basis and what people do on the individual merits, not because they went to this certain school. All right, man, they're going to ball because they played this position at this school. Are they being coached up well? Are they doing well on their individual merits?
All right, 457-9464. And by the way, we're not there is not one argument being made out that Justin Fields isn't going to be a good NFL quarterback. It's
going to be the best.
There are teams, though, who are viewing him as not a top quarterback to pick. Gladly take him in the middle. Let me ask you this. It's easy to be blinded by the not so great start to the career for Dwayne Haskins, but coming out of college, let's be clear. Dwayne Haskins, it was hard to envision him not succeeding in the NFL.
Fact.
With that arm, with his accuracy, with how big he was, his build. I mean, there was a lot of the Big Ben comparisons at that time, which is coincidentally where he's at now in Pittsburgh behind Big Ben. It's to be honest with you, I felt more confident about Dwayne Haskins in the NFL, which shows I know nothing anyways. I felt more confident because there was less, he had 1 full year as a starter. There was less to go on. But the thing, a year ago, if Justin Fields comes out, I'm not doubting anything about Justin Fields. It's because he came back that second year. There's more film. There was more opportunity to show any kind of flaws. I just think it's not a matter of whether or not he could play in the league. It's just whether teams value him that high to take him. But again, Zach Wilson and those guys, really, I'm just not. If I'm going to take a chance on a quarterback, I'm always going to go with the quarterback that has a higher ceiling athletic ability wise, who has the stronger arm, accuracy, and star power. And star power matters. Star power prolongs careers. Just put it that way. Zach Wilson's boring. He ain't going to get another chance.
You don't like Mr. Young Zach Wilson.
Now it's my elitism when it comes to Power 5 football and everything else. Let's just be clear. Look, everyone said, Carson Wentz put that to bed, that argument to bed. Did he? I mean, whether it's right or wrong, he had 4 strong-ass years that had numbers that, had he stayed healthy, rivaled some of the best quarterbacks in the league. But right now you have everyone saying, look, see, he didn't make it in the league. He didn't make it in the league. Who's that small quarterback that came from a small school that's just dominating right now?
Right now, or?
I'm sure there is one. I'm asking a legitimate question. I'm not saying there's not one. I just can't think of one. So when you talk about the Trey Lances coming in, and by the way, when you look at the fact that Carson Wentz has struggled now, that's going to hurt Trey Lance. Trey Lance, a year ago, when no one was doubting Carson Wentz, Trey Lance's value went up big time because everyone's like, see, he's coming from the same type of same program. He's fine. He's going to be good. And now that Carson Wentz has collapsed, I bet you that hurts Trey Lance. How much you want to bet that hurts Trey Lance when you're going to start hearing people say, see, there's still not a quarterback in the league right now. I feel like there's an obvious one that I'm just totally missing. But I mean, Josh Allen, where did Josh Allen go? Wyoming. So that might be the small of all the elite quarterbacks in the league right now. He might have gone to the smallest school, right?
Yeah. this ain't no knock on Trey Lance. This is just a knock on games played.
He played one game this year.
I am not drafting Trey Lance, dude. I'm just not, dude. Like, he's played, I want to say maybe 15 games in college. Started as a freshman, redshirt freshman. Played one game this year. I'm good, man. But I need to have somebody with some reps. And I said the same thing about Mark Sanchez. And I did say the same thing about Dwayne Haskins. Like, I just like to have my guys with more reps than just one season. That type of stuff alarms me. Granted, I've never seen Trey Lance play a single game of college football, not even the one that they played this year that was on prime time. I chose not to watch it. I've seen highlights and everything like that, just like everyone else has. But I would be weary of drafting a quarterback that's only started 1 year.
But see, when you talk about reputation, it matters. Why does Trey Lance have a shot to be drafted? Because no one thought Carson Wentz could do it, and he did it. And now it's like, well, clearly they're pushing the right buttons and developing the right kind of quarterback at North Dakota State or wherever the hell. So clearly, I mean, the fact that people feel more comfortable about taking a quarterback from North Dakota State versus Ohio State, it's because Ohio State doesn't develop elite NFL quarterbacks, and apparently North Dakota State puts Carson Wentz in the league, and that's why everyone feels confident in Trey. And it's like, you haven't seen enough of him yet, but people will feel more comfortable going that direction because they'll always think of, well, this is the same school that developed Carson Wentz, which right now doesn't seem good, but a year ago it did. And that's the holdup with Justin Fields and every Buckeye quarterback moving forward. Right or wrong, it's the reality of it.
Yeah, you're right. I can't deny it. I can't deny it, but I'm going to stand fast on, hey, man, look, let's draft people off their own individual merits. Let's not prop people up for something someone else did. Like, just because Carson Wentz balled out for a couple years in the NFL don't mean that Trey Lance is. Let's draft him because we want to draft him off of what he accomplished, not because of where he came from.
And if you don't draft Justin Fields, do it because he can't handle the pressure, not because no other quarterback has made it from Ohio State. How about that? Robert Miller says Joe Burrow, ? LSU did a great job developing an NFL quarterback. That was LSU. That was not Ohio State.
Joe Brady.
I'm not giving how much if there's a percentage pie, how much of that pie are you giving to Ohio State in responsibility of putting Joe Burrow in the NFL? Is there a -5? I'm putting -10.
About 15%.
Fair. I mean, that's fine. I say 0. I say it because he wasn't good enough to get the starting job at all, which doesn't mean he's bad because there's good quarterbacks at Ohio State. It just means that you had two really good quarterbacks, and the better of the two really good quarterbacks, won it out. But Joe Burrow didn't look elite his first year at LSU, and then they tinkered with some things, and then he goes to that next level. LSU is 1,000,000% responsible.
Or Joe Brady is.
Joe Brady, Tom Brady. What's that LeBron meme where he's holding the cigarette?
Why did he bring up Joe Burrow? I'm just curious.
I think it went back to the quarterbacks, Ohio State quarterbacks.
Okay. So, gotcha.
All right. We'll be back in a moment. We have Jay Williams coming up 10 minutes from now. We'll have a chance for you to win $10,000 on the other side of the break. It's the 1410 ESPN Radio 10K payday. That's coming up next. Don't go anywhere.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Super Week 2021 on ESPN Radio.
You take Tom Brady and put him on the Jacksonville Jaguars, all of a sudden, they win the division.
Tom Brady is the greatest quarterback of all time for now. Every year, Patrick Mahomes does not win the Super Bowl. It feels like a failure.
The Buccaneers and Chiefs. Coverage begins with Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin at 6 Eastern and continues all day.
Pick them every year from now until 2030.
Super Week 2021 on ESPN Radio.
It's time for some straight talk. Your tax return could look different this year, but you're still going to hear a lot of noise about how to spend it. So when the big carriers tell you to splurge on the latest nonsense, just tune it out. With Straight Talk, you can get a Samsung Galaxy A51 for just $199. Plus, get the $45 unlimited talk, text, and data plan with no contract on America's best networks for up to 50% less. Tune out the nonsense and tune into Straight Talk. Straight Talk Wireless. No contract, no compromise.
So now I've got this pack of 4 Shar-Pei rescue dogs for, oh my goodness, probably 5-6 years. They get a regular diet of Dinovite with every meal.
DINOVITE.com.
People remark on what beautiful coats they've got. I tell them, you don't need to wait until a problem presents itself. It's far better to keep the dog happy and healthy at all times.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
I get my Dinovite from DINOVITE.com.
Did you know just the simple act of dressing for work can make you more productive? According to a recent study by the Wall Street Journal, getting dressed for work each morning can even improve your performance. Untucked shirts are the easy way to look sharp instantly, and they're designed to be worn untucked so you'll stay comfortable all day long. So for your next Zoom call, lose the t-shirt and grab an untucked shirt instead. It'll also be your go-to when we start returning to all the things we've been missing. Try one today at any Untucked store or at untucked.com. Untucked shirts, designed to be worn untucked.
First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 WING. Order your Valentine's Day bouquet now at 937-223-1213 or online at firsttheflorist.com. FURST, First Florist and Greenhouses.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody or apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Napa know-how.
Getting $20 back when you buy a Napa Legend premium battery is a win-win. Getting it from the best car people around is a win-win-win. Getting it before you're stranded somewhere, that's a win-win-win-win. Save $20 when you get a Napa Legend premium battery. And if that sounds like a lot of wins, you're right. Quality parts, helpful people, that's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/21.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has the technology, supplies, and furniture you need to upgrade your workspace at amazing prices.
Like right now, select chairs are 40% off.
Plus, when you buy any office chair, get 25% off all desks, file cabinets, chair mats, bookcases, and lighting purchases.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples. See staplesconnect.com for details.
Ends 2/27/21. In-store only while supplies last. Curbside available at most stores. Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned in Babbel to our real life situations.
The app is so easy to use and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at babbel.com. That's babbel.com, BABBEL.com.
Here's that song again. Here's that song again. For the 100th time today. Here's that song again. It's gonna be stuck in your head all day. Here's that song again. It will make you cray, cray.
You love your kids enough to watch that TV show a bajillion times. Love them enough to make sure they're in the right car seat for their age and size. Show them you love them. Keep them safe. Visit nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to assist veterans during this COVID-19 pandemic. Even though we are not meeting face-to-face, we are here for you. We understand it is a difficult time with this virus threat and the strain of implementing social distancing. For those Montgomery County veterans who have lost their source of income due to their employers having to close or reduce their business hours due to the COVID-19 pandemic, you may be eligible for COVID-19 Special Financial Relief Assistance. Please contact the Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission at 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday for more information or to have an application sent to you. You can also visit mcvsc.org. The Montgomery County Veterans Service Commission is here to help Montgomery County veterans during the COVID-19 crisis. Call 937-225-4801 Monday through Friday or visit them online at mcvsc.org.
It's our 1410 ESPN Radio 10K payday, your opportunity to win $10,000. Head to wingam.com and enter the winning word football. How about that? Football. Enter the winning word football at wingam.com for your chance to win $10,000. Again, it's the 1410 ESPN Radio 10K payday, and all you have to do is head to wingam.com and enter the winning word for your shot to win $10,000. Another contest we have up and rolling for you here. Don't forget that Valentine's Day is coming up just around the corner. In fact, a week from this Sunday is going to be Valentine's Day. As February is just continuing to roll here. You can win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florists and Greenhouses, and all you have to do is head to Facebook. Okay, head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show. You need to like and follow the show page, and then while you're there, you can also watch the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live. All right, so make sure you share that. So here's how you win. Okay, we're going to draw the winner on Friday. We're going to contact the winner through Facebook, through the page that you shared this with. We're going to contact you on Facebook on Friday. So you have to use that page, okay, because that's who we're going to contact you through. So head to Facebook, search the Justin Kinner Show, like and follow the page, okay? And while you're there, you're going to see the live video feed. I need you to share that. We're going to take everyone that shares this video over the next couple of days. We're going to put them in a pool. We're going to randomly select a winner to win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florists and Greenhouses. Again, the official florist of ESPN 1410 Wing AM. So we want to do that for you. We want to hook you up with a nice gift that you can give to your significant other this Valentine's Day. And when we contact you, we'll tell you where to go pick it up and all those types of details. So keep that in mind. Head to Facebook right now, search the Justin Kinner Show, like the page, follow the page, and share the video. And that's how you'll be in the running to win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florists and Greenhouses. All right, let's talk a little college basketball on the other side of the break. Former Duke Blue Devil and now part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin, Jay Williams, one of my favorite Duke Blue Devils of all time, one of my favorite personalities on ESPN as well. He's going to call in and hang out with us for a bit. A lot of college basketball to discuss. Yep. Dayton Flyers go down last night, by the way, 69-64. To be honest with you, the score was this game was not that close.
Crutcher had 30, right?
Jalen Crutcher is unfreaking believable, man. He just watching that game last night. I see a lot of basketball players that don't look like they have any clue what the hell they're doing. And then there's Jalen Crutcher. He moves different. He just dribbles different. He just shoots different. The game it comes to him differently than everybody else. Obviously, he's experienced. He's been there a while. But UD's done a good job with him. He looks the part. I don't know what the next step is for him. I don't know what the legitimate, how legitimate of a shot in the league he has. But he's the real deal. They get blown out by 40 last night if it's not for him. I put on Facebook today, I said, if this team doesn't have Jalen Crutcher, it's embarrassing how bad they could be at times. But then, maybe Watson goes 0 for 10 or 0 for whatever from behind the three-point line. I mean, they had no one else last night to kind of help contribute to that. Your post player in Chimanga doesn't get one dang rebound. How do you have a post player that doesn't get one rebound? That doesn't make any sense. All right, folks. We'll be back in a moment. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We will be joined by Jay Williams next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash.
Justin, you're awesome, baby.
Right here on 1410 ESPN Radio.
I'm Terry Krupp of Laird's Tax and Accounting. We are excited to announce we are open and here to help with your tax preparation needs. We offer multiple options, both convenient and safe. You can drop off your tax return, upload it to our secure website, or call for an appointment. We have 5 locations in the Miami Valley and 1 in Columbus to serve you. No matter the situation, we're confident we can do the job right. Visit Laird'sTax.com or call 937-325-6571. Laird's Tax and Accounting, here for you to ensure continued confidence in your tax return.
New to the Wendy's 2 for $5 lineup is their classic chicken sandwich. Go grab a 2 for $5 deal and pick 2 faves like a Dave Single, Nugs, and now the classic chicken sandwich 2 for $5. Price and participation may vary, limited time.
Fever is a leading symptom of the coronavirus, so take your temperature twice a day with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. It's quick and easy to use, and its accuracy is backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Have your family start and end their day with the only home thermometer used and recommended by hospitals, doctors, and nurses. Your family can take their temperatures in seconds to know where they stand in the fight against COVID-19. Protect your family from the spread of this deadly disease and stay safe with Exergen.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
Staples has everything you need to start the year right, like home office furniture, the latest tech, and organizational supplies, and all at amazing prices. Get a fresh start this year with big savings from Staples.
We are Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes.
And into the end zone goes Chris Olave. KJ Hill, 6-yard touchdown catch. Right sideline and down he goes to the end zone.
WING 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
All right, Justin Kinner, Kev Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Let's bring on our next guest, former Duke Blue Devil, part of Keyshawn, J. Will, and Zubin in the morning, which you can catch live right here 6 to 10 every morning on 1410 ESPN Radio. We got Jay Williams with us. Jay, welcome in, sir. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. You know, sitting here in 19 inches of snow in a pandemic and haven't left my house in 6 months, but I'm doing great.
I'm sure. Listen, me and Kev were talking before you called, and I was telling him, I was like, it's so funny because Kev and I get heated on this show from time to time, and I sometimes feel like by the time the show's done that I'm going to lose a good friend in Kev because I piss him off so much. And I'm watching you and Keyshawn in the morning sometimes, and I'm like, okay, good. I at least see a little bit of us in what you guys do, and it's all, within the confines of the show, but it's so funny watching you and him go at it in the mornings.
I laugh with Key because, I learned that working with him, I'm like, man, Key, you be saying everything with conviction. He's like, no, but I said this yesterday. I'm like, you didn't say this yesterday, Key. I wrote down what you said yesterday, and you said this. He's like, no, I did not. And then I'm like, Evan, our producer, please, did Keyshawn say this yesterday? And Evan's like, yes, he did. And Keyshawn's like, well, I meant to say this. I'm like, no, enough. Like, I feel like I'm in a marriage that I can't get out of, but I actually enjoy it at the same time,
No kidding. But hey, as I always tell Kev, as long as we're friends at the end of the show, that's all that matters. And I'll know if I cross the line, I'm sure. But hey, what we have, it's been an interesting college basketball season. Duke, North Carolina, Kentucky, Michigan State. Like, it's rare for any of these programs to not be in the top 25. And then you have all four of them not in the top 25 right now. Just how bizarre is that? Again, it's rare for any of these programs to not have a top 25 year, and yet you see all four of them struggling right now, or at least not playing at the top 25 level. What is your takeaway when you look at that?
Well, I feel like, what happens right now with a lot of programs is, these times favor the teams that have built continuity over the years. I mean, we look at Iowa's an older basketball team. I know they're top 10. Gonzaga's an older basketball team. Baylor, Michigan, Villanova, you got pieces, the guys who have been around, they know what it takes. Isaiah Livers and company from Michigan, it's a lot of that. And I think for a lot of these other teams, you have scenarios where, look, if you're bringing young kids into a program, the ability for them to adapt and how quickly they can do that is very challenging when you're going through a pandemic. It's very challenging when you're going through protocols changing. It seems like underwear you wear throughout the course of the week. It's also challenging when you got, to be frank with you, kids who saw everything happening from a social injustice perspective, and then feel like they have a platform. Now you're asking a lot of college kids to step up and be involved in this too. So, I mean, managing all that and trying to focus on building chemistry and play, this is a hell of a year, man. This whole year feels like an aberration. Not to take anything away from the Gonzaga, the Baylors, the Michigans, Villanovas or Houston. They're doing a hell of a job, or Texas. But it just favors the old.
You know, some fan bases are using this year as like a throwaway year. We hear that line around town a little bit, but teams like Drake, St. Louis, Toledo, and Wright State, they're mid-majors taking advantage of this year.
I feel like you have to do what you have to do. And I'm not sitting here saying that any of these coaches are giving me excuses, right? If you're going to be at the top of the food chain, you're going to have a couple of years where you're down here and there. It's inevitable. You can't sustain that every single year. But I think what's happening and where it gets interesting in college basketball is as a lot more of these entities provide more optionality. You know, if you're seeing kids some top recruits going overseas, if you're seeing some top recruits going to the G League, I know that there are other leagues that are going to be established for other kids that want to come out of high school. So, you know, if you're one of these teams that recruits the top tier, but there's more optionality, all of a sudden, all these kids aren't coming to college basketball anymore.
Right.
And I think a lot of these traditional blue blood schools have catered young, have to start thinking about how do we get old again? We still need to, we can't put all of our eggs in the same basket with just all the top recruits. We need to find, like, where's the recruits that are like 35, 40, that we know we can have a strong senior class and maybe take a chance on 2 or 3 big-time freshmen, so we can gel that together, so we can have the continuity based with the inexperience, which equals, you know, the full kind of, you know, give and take about what you need as far as team dynamics to win it all.
You know, look, I say this all the time, that when you're great coaches like Calipari and Krzyzewski and Roy Williams, that obviously those coaches, they know how to win. They've been winning their entire careers. They know how to win, but sometimes I feel like they don't know how to lose. When you look at some of these awkward interactions that they have with the media in these post games on a year like this year, where, you know, those 3 programs aren't, you know, performing up to the level that we're accustomed to seeing them perform. There's some awkward interactions. Just your thoughts on that. Like, again, we know they know how to win, but sometimes I feel like when they lose, they're out of their comfort zone a little bit, which leads to these awkward interactions with the media. Your thoughts?
Well, I mean, look, if anybody's going to sit up here and tell you that over the last year and a half, if your life hasn't been a little bit more agitated, they will be lying, correct? Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you guys. I can't do any more damn Zoom calls. I'm on 30 Zoom calls a day. I'm zoomed out. I'm putting people on mute. I'm blocking out my screen. I'm going to the bathroom. They're coming back. They're still talking. I forgot about half the things they said that, you know, the 10 minutes before. And then I'm jumping on to the next Zoom call. I'm like, my wife's like, how was your day? What did you do? I'm like, I had 10 calls. I don't know who any of them were with. Damn it, what is going on? So if I feel that way, and I'm 39 years old, and I still feel very youthful and young towards it, I can't imagine guys who are handling so many of these things by Zoom, conference calls, getting blitzed with questions, coaching, worry about all these different things. I think it's a little bit easier to get agitated when you're taking 40 questions via Zoom in a little room where you're just by yourself than actually being able to engage with people face to face, right? And let them see the fact that you look a little bit maybe agitated today, or you had a rough day. It brings in tonality, so many different things to help people get agitated going through these times. I think that has to factor into it to some degree.
So the Nets got a huge win last night over the Clippers, but do you think their lack of defense is going to bite them in the long run?
You know, I think we live in a world now where we have to tell you exactly what's going on with this team and where exactly they're at. And we report exactly on where they're at every given damn second. Like, this is where they're going to be at 5 months from now. Like, the reality is this team does have a long way to go defensively. They just got put together.
Yeah.
They lost their best defensive player, Jared Allen, who can protect the rim. They made a move to get him on Shumpert. I think what I walked away saying is I still recognize how incredibly high their ceiling is. And when those 3 dudes are on at the same time, it's going to be hard for me to see a team in the East beat them 4 out of 7 times in a 7-game series. I can tell you that. And I do know that Shauna Marks, even though it hasn't happened yet, is probably looking for a big to get on the market, somebody that can be as agile as DeAndre Jordan and still add to this team. So, look, they're not a finished product yet. And we're going to talk about them in extremes and absolutes through all of their growing process. But still, man, let's focus on where this team will be, 2.5 months from now, because I think that will give you a better entry point to where they are as far as winning the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. But something I did want to get your take on is the NBA All-Star game. They're talking about having the NBA All-Star game in March in Atlanta, nonetheless. I don't know your thoughts on. Oh, okay, we're on the same page then. I say don't do it.
Well, Kev, you say hot Atlanta. I say hot lemon pepper chicken wings. I don't.
Oh, you were right about that.
What up, Lou?
I don't want my top tier athletes. Have you seen
Yes.
videos of what's popping off in the lip?
It's wide open.
Here, and my daughter's immunosuppressant. I tell my wife, I'm like, baby, I don't know. Maybe we should just go kick it in Atlanta or Miami for a day. I don't know. Like, I don't know what's going on. So, like, if I feel that way, and look, the reality is everybody isn't married with kids. Not everybody has the same level of, you know, like, people are going to do what they think is responsible for them. And I got to be honest with you, these guys are making so much money. And we want to talk about, like, Kyrie Irving, prime example. Like, Kyrie's making, what, like $35-40 million a year?
Mm-hmm.
And then someone's like, well, you're not following the protocol. And they're like, we're going to fine you. You're like, okay, fine me. Fine me $100,000. That's a lot of money to me, to Jay Williams. That's a lot of money. To Kyrie Irving, that's like pulling a nickel out of your pocket. It doesn't make it right. It doesn't make it fair. But if you're putting guys like that in this type of situation, like, how do you expect everybody to do exactly what you say? And that could only lead to you having to do more contact tracing and more postponement of games. And it hurts your bottom line. And I know it's doing it for the HBCU community, and I love that. But I think there are other ways you can go about doing that than trying to have a one-day event in Atlanta.
All right, we got Jay Williams, former Duke Blue Devil, with us. You can hear weekday mornings. It's from 6 to 10 on Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Zubin. Jay, last thing before we let you go. This weekend, you have Duke and North Carolina, a rivalry that obviously you're very submerged in, and it's a huge deal to you, obviously. It reminds us here, we have Ohio State, Michigan, and we always say that's the biggest rivalry in all of sports. You have Duke and North Carolina. Trust me, Duke, North Carolina.
I'm an Ohio State fan. It hasn't really been a rivalry. Sorry.
No, I'm in the minority when it comes to saying that, look, Michigan has been so competitive in the matchup that I don't get excited for it anymore. I get more excited for Ohio State, Penn State than I do Ohio State, Michigan. And, of course, I get blitzed and yelled at for it all the time. But compare the two rivalries. I know from a competitive standpoint, it's down right now for Ohio State, Michigan. But you have, context with, you're close to Ohio State's situation as well. But I'm curious, compare the two rivalries. I have a feeling I know which one you're going to give the edge to, though.
Well, I mean, I'm going to give the edge to Duke, North Carolina, just because, look, I grew up watching Ohio State football, and I could say over the last, a lot of years, I'm like, yeah, sure, keep Coach Harbaugh. That's fine for us. We're happy with that. Stay there as long as you want. Give him a 20-year extension. Fine. I don't know what the numbers are, but I think, like, out of all the minutes that Duke and North Carolina have played, I think they're only separated by a couple of points. It's like barely double digits or very under double digits. That's how intense this rivalry is. Now, the thing I get excited about is that, I know both teams are bringing that kind of star power or from a ranking perspective into this weekend. But, man, there's nothing like this game. There's nothing like – I'll tell you what this game means to me. My freshman year, I have no idea what this rivalry is about. We're playing at Chapel Hill, and I can literally block out every fan there is in the world. Didn't hear anybody while we were warming up. We run back into the tunnel as we're getting ready to come out for our last set of warm-ups. And I see this older lady, and she looks sweet, probably about like 85, 90 years old, and she's on top of this balcony that we're running underneath the tunnel. And she has her granddaughter. Her granddaughter is dressed in this really cute North Carolina cheerleading uniform, and she's sweet. She looks like she's 6 or 7, and she has little pom-poms. And the grandma's like yelling my name. And I look up at her like, okay, cool. Like, I'm going to wave to you. You look so sweet.
Oh, no.
And this grandmother flipped me the bird. I'm 17 years old. I'm like, you are nutty. You're flipping me the bird. Like, okay.
Courtside Karen, literally.
Courtside Karen.
Courtside Granny. There you go.
Courtside Granny, yeah. But, like, that's what this rivalry is about. And that's different. And I think that's going to translate to this court regardless of either team having a good year.
Last question for you, man. Super Bowl, who you got?
I think the narrative will be on Monday morning that we will be talking about the Kansas City Chiefs having potentially the greatest offense in the history of the NFL. I think we're going to sit here and say, I can't believe Eric Bieniemy did not get a job with how they dominate. I think I know that the O-line is decimated. I know it's a big thing, and I know that Tampa, their defense has been one of the best defenses in the league. And I know that Tom, throughout his entire 20-year career, there's only 3 times he's played for a team that didn't have a top 10 defense. The defense has always factored into him winning a Super Bowl. But I feel like what we're watching with Patrick Mahomes is something so different. And it feels like it's been kind of going underneath the radar because all this pressure seems like it's mounting on Tom Brady, even though the Bucs are the underdogs, which I think only gives the Kansas City Chiefs way more added on motivation. I think they're going to win this. I think they're going to win this game by a touchdown or two. And I think that's what the narrative's going to be on Monday.
All right, good stuff. Jay Williams, catch him weekday mornings right here on 1410 ESPN Radio. Keyshawn, Jay Will, and Zubin. In fact, I'm going to change. It's Jay Will, Keyshawn, and Zubin. He walks out the door. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Hey, take care, man. We appreciate the time.
All right, boys. Have a good day.
Later.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 32. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 20. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with rain, a high near 42. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Does it feel like finding clothes in your fit is impossible? Tired of feeling overwhelmed with options that just aren't right? Let the experts at Stitch Fix do the shopping for you. At Stitch Fix, we make sure each piece is hand-selected for your life. So whether you're staying home or on the go, Stitch Fix has the answer for what to wear. We make it easy to find what works for you. Signing up takes just a few minutes, and styles are delivered directly to your door. Get started today at StitchFix.com. Stitch Fix, your style delivered.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide and Charmin and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate of $16.44 per hour for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts, plus an additional per-hour rotating shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefit package on day one, including medical, dental, and 401k. For more information, visit pgcareers.com. Search for Dayton and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
Fever is a leading symptom of the coronavirus, so take your temperature twice a day with the Exergen Temporal Scanner. It's quick and easy to use, and its accuracy is backed by more than 80 clinical studies. Have your family start and end their day with the only home thermometer used and recommended by hospitals, doctors, and nurses. Your family can take their temperatures in seconds to know where they stand in the fight against COVID-19. Protect your family from the spread of this deadly disease and stay safe with Exergen.
First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 WING. Order your Valentine's Day bouquet now at 937-223-1213 or online at firsttheflorist.com. FURST, First Florist and Greenhouses.
Come into Skyline today and kick it up a notch with andouille sausage conies made locally by Queen City Sausage at participating Skyline locations for a limited time. Feeling good. It's Skyline time.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes. A $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody or apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Brands were overpriced, overdesigned, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. A Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 6677 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 6677. Enjoy.
Sometimes driving is great, but sometimes it's not so great, like when it's pouring outside. That's when you need the new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades designed to repel water, snow, and ice. Get yours today only at Walmart.
He's a former Buckeyes great and now a college football Hall of Famer. And don't forget about his 13 years of NFL experience playing for the Eagles, Dolphins, Jets, and the New England Patriots. He's Dayton's own Keith Byers. Hang out with him every Monday at noon on The Keith Byers Show, presented by Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
You can win a free dozen roses in a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses. All you have to do is head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and like and follow the show page, okay? Once you've liked and followed the show page, your name is automatically put to the pool to win a free dozen roses and vase. We're going to be drawing the lucky winner come Friday. We'll be contacting you on Facebook, and you will be able to go to First Florist and Greenhouses to pick it up. So that's all you have to do. And again, it's not like you have to pick it up Friday or Saturday. It's going to be made available for you later next week so that you have it just in time to surprise your significant other for Valentine's Day. So again, it's not that hard. I know I appreciate everyone who always tunes in on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook and what have you, but those who are not locked in right now on social media with us, you're listening in the car, make sure when you get home or you come to a stop that you can pull up the Justin Kinner Show page and like and follow along. You'll get to watch the show every day. You will have select segments, interviews, and everything that we post throughout the day, as well as other content. So keep that in mind. You definitely want to follow the Justin Kinner Show page. That way you can keep up to date with everything that's going on. And when you do that, you'll have a chance to win a free dozen roses in a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 Wing AM. Jay Williams, shout out to him. I appreciate him taking time and joining us and hanging out for a bit. Our next guest coming up at 5 o'clock, Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone, Ohio. Today's National Signing Day. A couple of years ago, this would have been like the day. This would be such a fun, exciting day for Buckeye fans because, you know what I mean? But now the early signing day period has kind of wiped that out. Yeah. And some of these guys we're going to talk about have signed already or have signed today. But I wanted to not focus so much on who Ohio State's getting or Cincinnati or Alabama or Clemson or whatnot. We're fortunate to have so much talent in our own backyard here in the Dayton area, and I just wanted to make sure we're highlighting some of our local stars who have either already signed or have signed their letter of intent today on National Signing Day. We talked about Northmont. Northmont is a team and a program that was really decimated more than it, not decimated, but just their season came to such a heartbreaking end. Yeah. They were supposed to play Springfield. They were one of the top teams in the country. Kev, they were going to win a state title. If I had to put money on one team, because betting on high school sports is so fun and all. But if I had to put money on a team here locally to win a state championship, it would have been, I know, right? I have a problem.
Oh gosh, I was not ready for you to say that.
I'm just saying. But man, Northmont was freaking stacked. They had talent all over the place. You look at Marcus Allen, Cade Rice, by the way, and that's who we're going to talk about coming up. For one, Marcus Allen, wide receiver out of Northmont, he is signed with Wisconsin. Yeah, he's going to be playing in the Big Ten. I don't know how serious. That's what I'm going to ask Jared coming up. I know Ohio State was on their radar. I just don't know how close. He decommitted from Michigan, if I'm not mistaken. Yes. So, but another Northmont grad going to Michigan is Rod Moore. He was a wide receiver, and I'm telling you, look at all this Division I talent.
Big time, man.
Division I high school, but Division I, like future, going to be playing in college. Cade Rice, the quarterback. Yeah. We've had callers call in just to tell us his story and stuff, and just how he's the guy to keep an eye on. And I'm looking at Cade Rice. He signs with South Dakota State.
Okay.
That again, to see him, be slinging it at the college level is going to be cool. Deshaun Harewood, defensive back from Northmont. He's going to the University of Indianapolis. All right, so Northmont just had talent all over. And by the way, there's so many talented kids in the area. If we miss one, it's not that we don't like your kid. Please call in at 457-9464. We want this to be a fun thing. We want to make sure we are acknowledging the great talent that we have in our area from a football standpoint. We'll do basketball another time, but make sure if we miss your kid when we get to Jared's segment coming up here at the top of the hour, that if we forget it, don't call in and yell. Just say, hey, what about this kid? And we'll be glad to make sure that we give them, a little bit of a shout out here. Tavon Hardwick. This comes from Marvin Gordon. He says Tavon Hardwick, D1 Arkansas Pine Bluff, HBCU Dayton Belmont athlete. So again, I appreciate that, Marvin. Thank you. If we're missing any athletes, please tell us. We'll be glad to make sure we get them recognized here on the show today. How about Wayne, Kev? Cam Fancher. I don't know how familiar you are with Cam, but Cam, watching him grow over the last couple of years has been awesome. And, you had that coaching transition. Mukes has done a fantastic job and taken over, for a coach that was there for almost 3 decades and had a ton of success, won a lot of state titles. So Cam Fancher, quarterback at Wayne, he signed with Marshall.
Wow.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I didn't know where most of these kids were signing. I know that there were teams interested in them, but it's pretty cool.
That's cool, man. And it's also, soccer players too. Soccer players sign to say where they're going to be going to college and everything like that. So like Justin said, call us, let us know where the student athletes are going, no matter what the sport is, man. This is something we want to celebrate.
Football, soccer, what have you.
We want to celebrate you guys, man. This is awesome, man. Obviously you and I didn't go to play at college. Well, you did play in college, but
stop.
but
doesn't count.
Yeah, it counts. You play. You suited up for the Raiders.
Stop it! I did not. Just I don't. Just no. Keep going.
we didn't get scholarships to play at the next level and everything like that.
I got free shoes and Wendy's on the road. That's what that was my
Frosty.
Yeah, we were trying to convince them to get books, but then they said you don't get your shoes, and I'm like, well, books are more expensive, and half the time I never bought the damn books to begin with. So you know what, shoes it is. But
it's a celebration today on the show.
So there's that. But no, absolutely. Cam Fancher from Wayne signing with Marshall. Antonio Berry with Wayne is going to Tiffin.
Okay, right up the road.
Yep. Jaden Hurd, defensive back for Wayne, going to Walsh.
Okay.
Brett Lawson, offensive lineman for Wayne, going to Bluffton. I actually know quite a few people who go to Bluffton and have played, whether it's basketball, football, what have you. So Bluffton's pretty solid. Actually, a teammate of mine from high school played at Bluffton, and it's just a good, solid program. So again, I don't care. It doesn't have to be Power 5. I don't care. I mean, it's such an accomplishment to get a scholarship and to go commit to play anywhere as far as that goes. Dalen Morgan, outside linebacker from Trotwood, signing with Akron.
A.K. Ron.
All right. Rod Green from Springfield signing with Grambling State.
Nice.
Titan
HBCU
from Springboro, by the way. And I was bummed we didn't get a Springboro game in this past year. I was really trying to get out there for that. We didn't get Northmont or Springboro. I was bummed about that. We had the smaller, shorter season because of COVID and everything. Titan Case, wide receiver from Springboro. He's signing with Navy.
Okay. Oh, going to protect and serve our country as well. Nice.
Matthew DePore, kicker for Springboro, signing with Air Force.
Another one.
I know, right? Another one. And Will Linkhart, by the way, unbelievable talent from wide receiver out at Centerville, signing with Tiffin. Will Linkhart, I mean, Chase Harrison, the quarterback at Centerville, I can't wait to see where he ends up going. I mean, he's an unbelievable talent as well, but Will Linkhart was one of his number one targets the last couple of seasons. So, but he's going to go and he's signing with Tiffin. So we're going to talk about all these guys and more coming up with Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone Ohio coming up again. He's a scout and he has all the inside information for a lot of our local area signees today. Again, we missed a ton, I'm sure. I know we have. So this isn't you don't like my kid moment. This is there's too many of your damn kids. So just tell us who it is and we'll be glad to give them a shout out. So there you go.
On a broader scope of college football and National Signing Day, I miss this being the sole day that high school recruits signed. The early signing period for me kind of takes away from college football, to be perfectly honest. And I will be curious how coaches feel about it, because I know, with programs like Ohio State and Alabama and Clemson, like their classes are locked up in the early signing period. Like if they sprinkle in a guy or two today, that's a bonus. But so many guys get locked up early in the signing period and are enrolled already and everything like that. And that's great for them. I just miss the domination of college football because, obviously you have the season and then you have the college football playoff. And then there's another part, recruiting. Like you have this day. It's almost how like the NFL dominates all year round. Like that's how college football, like I feel like they're missing a part that they can still dominate the talking heads with National Signing Day. It's like, you got your season, your national championship game, it's spring football, then the season again. Like I feel like we're missing that recruiting because like in the NFL, obviously you have your season, the Super Bowl, you have free agency, the draft, mini camp. They dominate all 4 seasons of the year on the calendar. I just feel like college football used to do that, but they don't do it anymore now that they don't have that National Signing Day, which is today.
Yeah, I mean, today technically is watered down a bit because the early signing day, but I mean, the early signing day has a lot of that big feel to it as well.
I just say because it's in the middle of the season, so I'm not thinking about that. Like I'm thinking about like, oh man, Ohio State, they're coming off a rough game versus Indiana, and they got Michigan State. Oh yeah, it's National Signing Day too. But no, I'm more focused on what's going to happen on the field. Like I think it kind of like takes away not only from my experience with college football, but also the shining a light on these kids that are making a life-changing decision to figure out where they're going to be spending the next 4 to 5 years of their life.
Yeah, and here's the other thing, and we're going to step away for a few moments. On the other side, I want to get into why days like today make me so critical of Ohio State and others when they do not take what they accomplish on days like today in the early signing period and turn it into national championships. I remember a conversation we had about a month ago, Kevin. A lot of people looked at me like I was crazy when I said I feel like Ohio State over this last decade actually underachieved. And you would have thought I made a Jesus joke in church. I mean, people couldn't believe it's because of days like today when you look at the talent that Ohio State is bringing in. All right. I mean, common sense tells you the teams with the best players should win the most championships. I mean, Alabama's been able to accomplish that. Clemson's been able to do it. Ohio State's won the title along with, LSU and others throughout this process. But keep in mind, it's days like today that put me in my position to be critical because my expectations are, okay, great. We can't sit here on a day like today and brag about how Ohio State just swarms in and takes every big talent out there, but then doesn't have anything to show for it after a 4-year period. Like, yes, there was a national title, but folks, it's 2021 now. Like, that's 2014. Like, how long of a bubble do you get to live off of a national title?
We talked about this before. I'm not sure what it is. I think we need to come with a consensus. You and I and the callers need to let us know. Is it 3 years? Is it 5 years? Is it just 4 years? A whole recruiting cycle? That's a good question.
Yeah, because you look at the national recruiting rank. When you look at the recruiting rankings out there, Ohio State's always at the top, and I think that they need to have more national titles to show for it. But that's just me. I'm not trying to turn this into a negative conversation. All I'm saying is it's days like today where Ohio State's winning. I mean, they're dominating, whether it's today or the early signing period. Alabama's doing the same thing as Clemson and others, but what's the purpose of gathering all these great players if what the end goal of winning a national championship is not accomplished more than just once every 4 years? That's a problem. We'll discuss on the other side more of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash next. Plus, keep in mind, we have a spring game announcement. Ryan Day discussed this earlier today with the media. We'll have that coming up on the other side of the break as well. We now know when the next Buckeye game is going to be, potentially. Don't go anywhere.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.
Napa know-how.
Getting $20 back when you buy a Napa Legend premium battery is a win-win. Getting it from the best car people around is a win-win-win. Getting it before you're stranded somewhere, that's a win-win-win-win. Save $20 when you get a Napa Legend premium battery. And if that sounds like a lot of wins, you're right. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores and Napa Auto Care Centers while supplies last. Offer ends 2/28/21.
What's in store this week at Staples?
Everything you need for a totally productive workspace.
Staples has the technology, supplies, and furniture you need to upgrade your workspace at amazing prices.
Like right now, select chairs are 40% off.
Plus, when you buy any office chair, get 25% off all desks, file cabinets, chair mats, bookcases, and lighting purchases.
Shop in store or pick up curbside.
Upgrade your workspace and save at Staples. See staplesconnect.com for details.
Ends 2/27/21. In store only while supplies last. Curbside available at most stores.
You have empty office space to fill or home office to create. You know what you need. You know what you'd like. But you also have a pretty good idea after you've shopped around the usual places what you need and what you like might not happen. Well, then you haven't been to Charles Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. Nobody has their selection. Nobody has their discounts. And every week there's something new. If you need office furniture, Larrick's Warehouse Outlet can sell it to you for half the price and below manufacturer's selected prices. Half price and below on hundreds of items. Selection from budget to the best. Really, desks from $50 to $5,000. Filing cabinets from $25 to $500. Before you go anywhere else, do yourself a favor and come to Larrick's Warehouse Outlet. With 25,000 square feet of selection, you're not going to go anywhere else. Larrick's Warehouse Outlet at 23 McOil Avenue, Dayton. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6. Larrick's, continuing the tradition.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Spending more time at home? There has never been a better time to invest in your home. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. Can't get to the big game? No problem. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc. today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Surround sound? You haven't heard surround sound till you hear Dolby Atmos 360 degrees. Put you smack dab in the middle with 11.2 channel surround sound. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. Stop by and experience the crazy cool showroom, the top brands, excellent service, and knowledgeable staff. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc.'s crazy cool showroom.
Sometimes driving is great, but sometimes it's not so great. Like when it's pouring outside. That's when you need the new Michelin Endurance XT silicone wiper blades designed to repel water, snow, and ice. Get yours today only at Walmart.
Hey everybody, it's Stephen A. Smith, and everyone knows my feelings on Cowboys fans. But really, Justin Kenner, you're a Cowboys fan and a Browns fan? Good Lord have mercy. I don't know what the hell to do with y'all. I really don't.
It's the Justin Kenner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays from 3 to 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. All sports, all the time. This is 1410 ESPN Radio.
If you missed the interview with Jay Williams, you can go and check it out now. So download and subscribe to the Justin Kenner Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. When you download and when you subscribe to the podcast, it's automatically downloaded to your phone every day. Once we post it following this show, you'll have access to shows in their entirety, as well as select segments and all interviews that we do, just like the one we did with Jay Williams just a little bit ago. The one thing we talked about too, and I forgot to bring this up a little bit ago, post interview with them. This weekend, you have North Carolina versus Duke, and I remember as a kid growing up, like that was like I had to circle that on the calendar. I had to make sure I was. I don't do that anymore, and it's not just because this year both teams are not ranked and everything like that. But I do feel like the rivalries across the board in all sports, like Yankees Red Sox, doesn't have that feel anymore.
Right.
North Carolina Duke doesn't have that feel anymore. And I don't care what anybody says. You could talk about tradition and history all you want. Ohio State, Michigan is not what it used to be. And the only way it can get back to that is if Michigan wins. And I'm not saying I want Michigan to win, but I don't think the thing is that that's definitely not what I'm going to talk about whatsoever. But the point is I feel like rivalries have definitely like been watered down over the last decade, especially. And you have Duke, North Carolina coming up, but I thought Jay was the perfect one to ask. You know, his affiliation to Ohio State as well as playing at Duke, the Duke North Carolina rivalry versus the Ohio State Michigan rivalry. Depending on who you talk to, sides at Duke and North Carolina will say, "Oh no, this is a bigger rivalry than Ohio State Michigan." And of course, the OSU pride will always tell you that, there's nothing that touches this. Which is the bigger rivalry right now? Not over time, not history wise, but right now.
Man, I would probably say, that's a good question. Ohio State, Michigan. I mean, it's easy for me to say Ohio State, Michigan because I'm a fan of Ohio State. I'm not a fan of Duke or North Carolina. I mean, I watched them because 9 times out of 10, it's going to be a good game. I remember Austin Rivers hitting that half-court shot to beat North Carolina. I remember Jerry Stackhouse with the reverse dunk. I remember Jason Capel hitting a half court shot to tie up a game before. Like, I remember so many moments from those games, but I know you don't, but I still get that feeling in my stomach when Ohio State and Michigan play, just simply because I'm a little bit older than you. So I still remember Desmond Howard down the sideline, scoring a touchdown to beat us and, throwing up the Heisman. And it double hurt then because, me being from Cleveland and knowing Desmond Howard is from Cleveland. Elvis Gerback, their starting quarterback at the time, was also from Cleveland. So it hurt bad. And then I remember one year when Tim Batuka ran for 300 plus yards on a Silver Bullet defense. Those things still irk me to this day, even though they're like 20 and 30 years ago. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's probably always going to be Ohio State, Michigan, because those things irk me to the core. But because those teams that Cooper had were loaded. And I know that Urban Meyer and everything he accomplished here at Ohio State by, making this more than just a regional recruiting situation. That's what John Cooper did. John Cooper had kids from Texas. He had kids from California. Kenyon Rambo was like the number one wide receiver coming out of high school, and he's from California. He came all the way to Ohio State. So the things that John Cooper was doing recruiting-wise was outstanding for Ohio State, but he could never beat them. He couldn't beat them enough, and he got fired for that. And I know it's been a long time, and shoot, we've had Tressel and he dominated, and Urban Meyer, he dominated, and now it's looking like Ryan Day is going to dominate. I don't ever want us to forget when they used to beat us and how they used to beat us with teams that had no business beating us. That's why I always say respect your opponent by kicking they beep. Kick they beep up and down the field. That's how you respect your opponent, because I will never forget Tim Batuka basically getting drafted off of one game versus us, because he got drafted off that one game because the Ohio State defense was the best in the country and he put up 300 yards on us. And I'm getting mad about it right now.
Well, and again, when you talk about the history,
I don't even know if I answered your question.
Well, you did it wrong, because I told you I'm talking about right now, not history wise, and you gave me the history. I don't care. The history means nothing, because a decade just erased that history, and Michigan's gonna have to do a lot to kind of make this feel like it's a big game again, because it's not. We can put all the little slogans. Well, you can, whatever. People can put all the little cute slogans with the game, the best rivalry in all of sport. No. Michigan has not done enough to carry their end of the bargain for this to be the most watched rivalry game in sports. To me, when you look at Yankees, Red Sox, North Carolina versus Duke, Ohio State versus Michigan, Red Sox, Yankees, that's still at least somewhat competitive on a year-to-year basis, even though the Red Sox have been down. Of all the rivalries, the least competitive of them all right now, Ohio State, Michigan. And it's not Ohio State's fault.
Right.
It's not Ohio State's fault, but I think that right now it's Duke, North Carolina, just because it's super competitive. I mean, right now, I think, we want to talk about the history. North Carolina leads 138-13, 113 in that. But both teams constantly in the top 25. They're constantly making deep tournament runs. North Carolina, and Duke in this past decade winning national championships. How long has it been since Michigan won a national championship? Oh, yeah.
1997.
It's been a while. So that's why I'm just I'm not saying that they're not rivalries, but as far as right now, the biggest one in sports, even though I think and I've just said this to open up, I think all rivalries feel watered down right now. I don't get all warm inside for Duke, North Carolina like I used to. Yankees, Red Sox doesn't have that. I mean, when you have Pedro Martinez taking an old bald man and throwing him to the floor, there's nothing that's a rivalry.
That was awesome.
If you aren't angry enough to take an old man and throw him to the floor, is it even a rivalry? Let's be clear. So no, I just feel like everything is too watered down right now. But as of right now, the most competitive of them all that actually has stuff on the line on a week year out basis, it's Duke, North Carolina to me.
I think especially in college football, I think all rivalries are down. Obviously, the Ohio State Michigan one is down because they're not holding up their end of the bargain. The USC UCLA is not very entertaining because USC normally is winning those matchups. Florida State. Florida State stinks right now. Miami, Florida State stinks right now. I guess the most competitive college rivalry game would be Auburn, Alabama.
To me, it's Ohio State, Clemson. Ohio State, Alabama, Clemson. The college football playoff has It's created.
So you're talking about this is what the college football playoff is creating a new.
I think it's organically created. I think it's created an organic rivalries because let's be honest, today Ohio State versus Alabama is happening.
Right, recruiting.
Versus Clemson is happening. And I'm not saying that Michigan's not a part of that, but they're not doing it at the level as what the others are doing. So I think when the playoffs started, yes, you could say this last decade of Ohio State just dominating Michigan is why the rivalry seems watered down. But I do think that the college football playoff, because it force teams to either be dominant or to take a step back. Michigan's taken multiple steps back, and Ohio State's put themselves at the adult table with Clemson and Alabama. So again, it's Michigan's fault. There's nothing Ohio State can do other than laying down for a game, which will never happen. Right? And I'm joking, by the way. I don't expect that. I'm just saying, but literally, it's a loss that it would take Michigan beating Ohio State to add a little flavor to it, which nobody wants. And I don't get why Buckeye fans get so stubborn and saying, yeah, it's not as much of a rivalry anymore. Why are you trying to force a square peg in a round hole? It may, I don't know. It just isn't.
Is it just is it people of a certain age, or is it, everybody?
I mean, you would think that the older people would even be adamant that this isn't a rivalry anymore just because of what you talked about, you being older and experiencing the rivalry. That's all the more reason why you should look at what it is now and say it's a freaking joke. And it is. Michigan has made this a joke, and it frustrates me because I want it to matter. As a kid, it mattered. As a kid, I mean, every week we would go to a different friend's house to watch the game, but we didn't do anything different for Michigan than any other week of going to a friend's house, but that game just felt bigger. The popcorn just tastes better. The pizza tastes better. The beer. No, I'm just joking. I was a kid. Wink, wink, right? No, but everything was just better that day. Now it's just, like I've told you before, I don't get that game doesn't impact me one way or another. But the Clemson game, man, I had butterflies in my stomach all day. I couldn't wait to get the national title game. I'm like, man, it's Alabama against Ohio State. It used to be Michigan, Ohio State, man. I don't get that anymore. I just don't. And I think that, people like to argue it. That's fine. I just don't see that anymore. And it's not Ohio State's fault. All that team up north.
And also, if you think about some of the baseball rivalries you talked about with the Yankees and the Red Sox, I never view those big time rivalries until the playoffs, because that's when it truly matters, because they play so many times. Not only they're playing multiple times in the year, they're playing series. They play a 3-game set over the weekend. So I can't get invested in it until it's for all the marbles. So when they play in the playoffs, oh yeah, I'm locked in. This is a rivalry game, something I can get locked in on. But in the NFL, even if I wasn't a Pittsburgh Steelers fan, that Steelers Ravens game is normally epic. If somebody's gonna get knocked out, somebody's gonna get KO'd, something's gonna happen. And for the way the Browns are playing, they want to jump in the dance too. They want this rivalry with the Ravens. They want the rivalry back with the Steelers. So I think the NFL has actual rivalry games, unlike baseball and college football right now.
Yeah, I can feel the hatred in the NFL. I mean, look, that Steelers Browns week, Browns fans were just I can't believe they're doing that. I'm like, that's a good thing they're doing. When they're chirping about you, it means they're paying attention to you. Because I'll never forget, we had Jerome Bettis on the show years ago, and I said, "Oh, it's Bengals Steelers week. It's a rivalry game." And Jerome Bettis starts laughing. I said, "What's so funny?" He goes, "Look, man, I don't know what's going on in Ohio. You guys may view this as a rivalry game. It's not a rivalry." He literally was he found it so humorous that I called it a rivalry game, and that's why I'm like, he's right. It's not a rivalry game, but, the Bengals pay attention to what the Steelers are doing, but I promise you they don't care about what you're doing. And they used to not care about what the Browns are doing. But now all of a sudden, you hear Juju start chirping a little bit. All right, I don't want to talk about the dance in the midfield. He did that everywhere. All right, but for the Browns, they're paying attention to the Browns. They're annoyed that the Browns are good. They're annoyed that they're, at a level that you got to pay attention to. They ain't paying attention to the Bengals. They're paying attention to the Browns. So when Browns fans got mad that the Steelers were chirping, that's a good thing. That means you're on their radar. That means they're paying attention to you. That means you're on their nerves. That means you're doing something right. But when they don't care who you are, when they're not chirping during the week, when you're considered a trap game to them for some, that means you got some work to do. But yeah, that Jerome Bettis angle, that was still funny as hell to me. He even, and I've told you this before, Jerome Bettis said on the show, he goes, "Look, actually, I should be a big fan of the Bengals. I had more yards against the Bengals than any other team in the history of in the history of his career." So he said he should thank the Bengals. He should have thanked them at his Hall of Fame speech when he was inducted. So
Charlie is calling in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I haven't heard from old Charles in quite some time, but nonetheless. All right, some other news that came out today. We all know last year around, we're beginning of February. A year ago at this time, we had no clue what we were about to embark on from a real life standpoint of this pandemic that has just dominated our world for the last year. But a year ago at this time, Kev, we hadn't even a year ago at this time, we didn't even realize that game day was coming. We didn't even know game day was coming to town. We knew that the NCAA tournament was on the horizon, and we had two teams in the air. We were talking about UD being a number one, one of the one seeds, number 3 in the country at the time. Like, we're following what they're doing. Wright State was having a great year. Like, we were gearing up and getting excited for the NCAA tournament. We didn't even have football in our mind outside of the Super Bowl and the playoffs going on at that. But man, a year ago, who would have thought that there would be no March Madness? I don't care if it's just a little exhibition. There's no spring game. Remember, we were supposed to do the show.
Yeah.
We had it all hooked up. We were going to be doing the show live in Columbus on the day of the spring game. And we were pumped about that. Like, it was, and then everything just went to hell, right? Like, it just got, it was horrible. But the spring game is coming back. Clay Hall out of Columbus says, per Ryan Day, that the spring game target date is April 17th, that they are going to be starting practice around mid-March, and that they are, full steam ahead. It sounds like we're getting closer to just things as normal. Now, again, the spring game, I'm sure there'll be fans allowed. It'll just be a matter of how many. I don't know. Does the Big Ten have rules on fan attendance at spring games?
That's a good question. I don't know. Probably.
Either. Yeah, but again, I thought that was interesting news today that per Ryan Day that the spring game is going to be targeted for April 17th. Practices will start in mid-March, and there you go. But I'm excited about that. I don't care. That spring game, I'm going to it. If you're allowed to have fans, I'm going to it. It'll be the first sporting event that now I cover basketball, but no, I mean, like, as a fan, I'm going to the spring game. I don't care. I sit away from people. It is what it is. It's the spring game. There's plenty of seats that are going to be open to begin with, but I think a lot of people will be excited about that.
People might have the same idea that you got.
Well, they have limitations, and they don't let you sit by anybody, and I don't have any friends or family to go with, so, it doesn't matter. I'll be going by myself. But yeah. All right. Coming up around the corner, about 5 minutes from now, Jared Luginbill is going to be calling into the show. Excited to talk with him. Again, we're going to talk about some of the local the local signees here on National Signing Day here in the Dayton area. Excited about that. Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone, Ohio. The recruiting rankings as of right now, Kev, Alabama still has the number 1 recruiting class for 2021. Ohio State, number 2. Georgia, number 3. LSU, go Tigers. LSU coming in at number 4. Clemson at 5. Oregon, by the way, picked up a couple big commitments today. They're number 6. And I like that. I want to see Pac-12 teams getting back in on the fun.
Yeah, man.
I'm tired of the SEC and the Big Ten and the ACC. And technically, the ACC and the Big Ten is just 2 teams. It's Ohio State and Clemson and the SEC. The Pac-12, come on. The Big 12, step your game up as well. In fact, the Big 12.
Is it really the SEC, or is it just Alabama and LSU every blue moon?
Georgia, they're there till Georgia's fighting to the very end. Like this year, they stubbed their toe. I get that, but I'm not ready to poo-poo on Kirby Smart and Georgia just quite yet. Not yet. I'm getting there. USC comes in at number 8, but there is not a Big 12 team in the top 10, Kev. Michigan comes in at number 10, Oklahoma at 11.
Oklahoma at 11?
Oklahoma's at number 11, yep. They have 17 commitments. They have 1 5-star and quite a few 4-stars. They have 12 4-stars. As far as the 5-star, everyone gets obsessed with that. Alabama has 7 5-stars and 15 4-stars in this class. Ohio State has 5 5-stars and 13 4-stars. Georgia has 4 5-stars and 11 4 5-stars and 11 4-stars, and then it just depletes after that. Like Oregon has the number 6 class in the recruiting rankings. Kev, they have 0 5-stars, but they have more. They have more 4-stars than Alabama and Ohio State. And I know people don't really care so much about the star rankings. But
yes, they do.
There is a parallel between the teams that have the most 4 and 5-stars and the teams that are regularly competing for a college football playoff spot every year. All right, it's National Signing Day. We talked about some of the big names locally that have signed. We're going to talk about that with Jared Luginbill on the other side of the break. Jared Luginbill, Prep Redzone, Ohio. National Signing Day talk next.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Without more licensed workers, Gary's roofing business might hit its ceiling.
Hey, that new contract just got pushed up. We are going to need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Hey, Gary, you booked me on that other job next week.
It's time to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. The moment you sponsor a job on Indeed, you get a short list of quality candidates from our resume database. Indeed delivers 2.5 times more hires than the other branded job sites combined, according to Breezy HR 2019. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get a $75 credit for your first job post. Terms and conditions apply.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Gentlemen, have you outgrown the Arctic Wolf at Extreme Sports Grooming Products? Cremo Company is proud to offer a more refined selection of products with good, uncommon scents and no cute names. Scents like Blue Cedar and Cypress, Silverwater and Birch, and our new Reserve Collection scent, Palo Santo. Available in rich, lathering body wash, luxurious colognes, barber-grade shampoos, and sweat-fighting antiperspirants and deodorants. Find the grown-up scents from Cremo Company at major retailers, Amazon, and CremoCompany.com.
Redzone North America LLC is hosting a hiring event on Saturday, February 20th at the Champaign County Fairgrounds in Urbana at the Michaels Horticulture Building from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. Redzone has immediate openings for experienced welders, machine operators, paint unloaders, and paint loaders. Why choose Redzone? We have recently raised our hourly pay rates and are offering a sign-on bonus if you attend job fair and meet requirements. Plus, a new pay structure with a generous benefits package. Mask required to
America's best. Book your exam online today.
Don't miss the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. Weekdays at 3 p.m. on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
So you want to talk about outliers? Those guys are outliers. You're lucky that this thing's separating us. That's all I got to say. For facts, though. I got your facts right here.
Listen, stream, and now watch. Search the Justin Kinner Show on Facebook to follow along. College football playoffs, Browns, Bengals, Buckeyes, and more. Catch the Keith Byers Show Mondays at noon on 1410 ESPN Radio. WYNG 1410 Dayton, Dayton's ESPN Radio. It's the Justin Kinner Show, live here on ESPN Dayton, 1410 Wing AM. Tweet the show at 1410 Kinner or give us a call at 457-9464. We now send you to the Wing Studios in Kettering. Here's your host, Justin Kinner.
Justin Kinner, Kev Nash, back with you here on Dayton's ESPN radio station, 1410 Wing AM. The conversation we had with Jay Williams is officially posted. It's also available at wingam.com. So head to wingam.com and you can access all interviews and select segments that we do right here on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right at the tip of your fingers. So make sure you go and check that out. Subscribe and download the Justin Kinner Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. So again, one thing we talked about with Jay Williams was the Ohio State versus Michigan game versus North Carolina versus Duke. Which rivalry game is bigger? We talked about that and then some, and we'll get into more of that coming up later on in the show. But today is National Signing Day, and Kev, it's interesting because we talked about how the early signing period is kind of watered today down, but still it is interesting taking a look at some of the big talent that we have here locally, and I'm excited to bring on our next guest, Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone, Ohio. Jared, welcome in, man. How are you? I appreciate your time today.
I'm doing great, fellas. Great to be with you, Kevin, Justin. Just an exciting day for those of us that follow high school recruiting.
So let's dive into that. Before we get into some of the local players here in the Dayton area, just talk about your experience with the players you've covered. When you take a look at how COVID has impacted their recruiting experience, what can you tell us about how that has gone so far?
Yeah, it's brought up a lot of obstacles and challenges for the kids, especially the 2021 class. Kind of the way it typically works is around a kid's sophomore season is when they start picking up steam. Colleges start making their recruiting boards. Into their junior season, the colleges are really following what they're doing and that sort of thing. And the off-season summer camps are where the coaches really get a chance to size up the kids, see them in person, get them on campus, and really establish those relationships. Well, because of the COVID issue and not having those summer camps, it's really given a lot of kids trouble that maybe were under the radar, late developing, kids that really needed that extra time and just frankly to get on campus. College coaches can be kind of, I don't want to say fickle, but they want to be able to see and shake, a kid's hand and really be able to feel like, they know what they have there. And without that happening, that's really put a lot of obstacles in the way. And then just from the kids' side of not being able to take campus visits, as you talked about, it's a decision that's going to affect at least the next 4 years of their life. And not to be able to really get on campus and view the facilities and get to meet the coaches and that sort of thing has just made it, kind of a hard situation to go through. But they've done a great job of adapting. The kids never cease to amaze me with their ability to overcome, and they've done it here.
You look at this class, the 2021 class coming up. We're going to talk a lot about the names who have signed, whether it was the early signing period or today on National Signing Day. But you look at the transfer portal, and there's a lot of concern about how many names are in that current transfer portal and how there seems to be more names than available opportunities. But you talked about it, Jared. You said that a lot of coaches are fickle. They want to see these kids, and they haven't been able to see a lot of these high school kids for quite some time or be able to meet them. Could you see more coaches go in the line of trying to fill holes with the transfer portal versus some of the kids who weren't fortunate enough to get a deal done or to be able to sign a letter of intent to play?
Oh, I think you could see that a little bit, but to be honest, the transfer portal, colleges that have options are going to use that probably more in the means of trying to fill a hole here or there to build a culture in a system. You want players that are going to be committed for the long term, and so I don't see successful programs, successful coaches really choosing that route as being one that they're going to make long-term investments in. But that being said, the other part of the COVID issue was seniors getting an extra year of eligibility, and so it's very possible that they could choose the kid that they already have in that knows their system, that's been there for 3 or 4 years and has that knowledge and knows the game, as opposed to a kid that's in high school and they haven't invested in yet. And so, that definitely could be a realistic possibility. But yeah, there's more kids right now in the transfer portal than there are spots open. So, it may look like the grass is greener on the other side, but there's a chance some of these kids aren't going to find a landing spot.
One of the things I definitely miss about National Signing Day, outside of the big one, just the single one, but is the hat dance and the ability for these young student athletes to pick their college choice in front of their whole school. How's that happened this year since, there's so many schools doing school virtually?
Yeah, I know a lot of kids have talked about meeting with coaches on Zoom and that sort of thing. I don't think it's any more or less, to be honest, the hat thing has become less, and putting the video on Twitter out of making your commitment is kind of the in vogue thing now. And not to say that the hat thing doesn't still happen, but that's kind of seems to be where the kids have gone, and really that, no matter how, whether it's in the December early signing period or now really isn't affected by that.
One of my favorite memories, and not for the right reasons at all. I'm being mean here, but the high school player last year that committed to Ole Miss that didn't have an offer. Remember, you talk about the hat dance, Kev, like that, you talk about those hat dances and stuff, but that was so uncomfortable. And the only reason I bring it up is because someone literally just said it to me, and it took me back to that. When the kid that committed to Ole Miss last year on signing day, and he did the whole video, he did the hat dances you talked about on the news was there. except Ole Miss never offered him. There was no paperwork on him, and they had that was so bad. But anyways, like I said, today's supposed to be a good day about kids signing, and I'm being mean to bullying here.
Yeah, it's it really is a culmination for these kids of all the work that they put in, and not just on the field, but in the classroom to be where they are now. And so, like you said, it's a day to celebrate them. And I know you alluded earlier to the fact, I can't get to every kid, to say their name, but, be proud of what your child's done and celebrate their accomplishment today, for sure.
Absolutely. And, and you sent me a list of guys that you've, been covering here in the Dayton area earlier today. We read some of those names off a little bit ago. And and you're right. I mean, that's what I was trying to make clear is a lot of times when you start talking high school sports, you always give that school attention and not this school. Well, that's why the phone lines are open and people have access to send in some local signees from the area if we miss one. But I want to talk about a school that you have a lot of players from this school on your list that you sent me earlier today, Northmont. I was able to call quite a few of their games over the years, and I tell you what, I did not get to see Cade Rice play though as he transferred there this past season. Unbelievable talent. He has Marcus Allen and Rod Moore and so many other talents around it. Northmont was going to win a state championship in my opinion, and they had that opportunity taken from them unfortunately due to the coronavirus and everything. I mean, they were ready to get on the bus to head to Springfield to play, and it gets taken from them. It was such a heartbreaking way for them to end their season, but man, they had so much talent, so much upside. But talk about the talent that's on that team and where these players have signed.
Yeah, so, as wealthy as the Dayton area is in talent, while Northmont, you look at a kid like Marcus Allen, a wide receiver, big kid, 6'2", 190, led their team in receptions, 60 receptions, 864 yards in 8 games, 14 TDs in 8 games. Was originally slated to or committed to Michigan. My belief and understanding is that they cooled on him some, and he ended up decommitting, but he had offers from all over the country, ended up choosing Wisconsin. Funny enough that he's going to see Michigan probably at least once a year or, every other year with the Big Ten schedule. And so that'll be a fun rivalry. I would assume that he'll have some words and some plays for the Michigan coaching staff. But then you also have Rod Moore, who played wide receiver and defensive back there at Northmont. He's probably going to be a safety up there. I guess would be a free safety, maybe a little bit of nickel back. But smaller kid, 5'11", 180, but just flies around the field. And has, quick change of direction ability. And just, you look at him and you say, yeah, that's a D1 athlete. That's a kid that has the physical traits of a kid that's going to play at that level. Cade Rice, as you said, signed with South Dakota State. Honestly, he was a kid that I was just waiting for to bust out on the D1 scene. And for whatever reason, it just never happened. I kind of put it to what I talked about with not being able to get into camps for people to see him throw live. It's especially with quarterbacks, coaches want that extra comfortability. They're going to be the leader of your offense. They're going to be the face of your team to a certain extent, and they want that extra comfort level. But South Dakota State's a great program, and he's going to, I believe, have a lot of success there. And so, it's really, you look at a lot of people make, a D1 or bust type attitude. And there's so many good programs, D2-wise, where you can get a great education and play at a very high level of football. And so I would never want to diminish a kid for going that route. And I think Cade will do well there. Sean Harewood, another kid, defensive back, who's going to go to Division II, University of Indianapolis. Great cover skills, a kid that's just going to compete. And I wrote an article about him earlier in the year of just the ability to every day go up and practice against 2 wide receivers that have D1 Power 5 conference type ability, and how that's helped him as a player kind of just be able to rebound and be mentally tough and just hone his skills, really. And so, yeah, they're, as you said, they 8-0. I was really looking. I was going to be going to that Springfield game in the playoffs. I was there at the first time they played, and it was going to be a great game, I think. I don't know who would have won, but it would have been a great game, no doubt. But, they have to be proud of what they did this year, not losing and being one of the best teams in the state.
Another team in the GWalk that we called a lot of their games over the last couple of years too, Centerville. I know they have Chase Harrison, who's a junior, who's heading into his senior year now, but one of his primary targets was Will Linkhart. And just signing, you obviously signing with Tiffin, but just what was his recruiting process like, and what was the interest in him like from various schools?
I think it was more on a D2 level for Will. I think he did get a little interest from D1s earlier on in his high school career. Just from a physical standpoint, the kid's 6'5", 190 pounds. So right off the bat, that kind of is going to catch people's eyes. But he just speed-wise, athleticism-wise, seems like a great fit to the D2 level, and a kid that, whether they decide to grow him into a tight end or as a big outside receiver that can really post up cornerbacks and that sort of thing, really is a quality fit there. And to be honest, guys, they're really, when I look at the top D2 programs, and Tiffin's really coming along and turning into a school that is bringing in a lot of talent, there's not really a lot of difference between your top D2s and your smaller D1 FBS programs. Talent-wise, sometimes it's just one thing here, one thing there. It might be a coach's pipeline to a school, relationships that they have, and that sort of thing. So, Will's one of those guys that probably could have flipped either way at one point or another, but I really think Tiffin's going to be a good fit for him.
We always get so enamored with the 4 and 5 star guys going to Power 5 schools. And you talked about guys that are going to the D2 level, but this is like a celebration. Even, Rob Moore, even though he's going to Michigan, this is a celebration for all these young student athletes to, pursue their dreams and go play at the collegiate level.
Absolutely. And let's be honest. If your ultimate dream is to play in the NFL, if you're good enough, they're going to find you, whether that's at Division II, that's at Division I, or that's in Division III. There was a young man in the Senior Bowl this last week that was getting noticed, and he was a Division III player. And yes, are there more hoops to jump through, more things you're going to have to do to get there? Probably. But if, like I said, if you're good enough, they're going to find you. And like I said, ultimately, this is a long-term investment of getting a great education, playing football at a high level, and competing and being part of a locker room of guys that have a passion for the game like you do.
Another name I'm interested in discussing quick before we let you go, Cam Fancher. I've loved watching that kid play, super athletic. He signs with Marshall. What was his recruiting process like? And at what point did he come? When did he officially announce Marshall? Do you know?
It was within, I want to say, the last month or so. It was relatively late in the recruiting process. Cam was a guy that was a borderline FBS player /
I know he had some bigger schools looking at him because I remember, so that, Marshall, I think, is a good fit for him as well.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's going to be a guy that is going to come in, and they're going to want to really work with him in the passing game and going through his progressions and things like that. But when it comes to arm talent and athletic ability, you're not going to find a better prospect as somebody that can make plays and extend plays with his legs. The RPO run pass option nowadays is really big, and he's a kid that could excel in that manner. And so, yeah, as an athlete, he's a kid that whether he comes in and excels at quarterback, is great. And if he doesn't, he's a kid that you could easily slide down to a slot receiver, kind of like Braxton Miller or that sort of thing, and play that way and could excel at that way too. But from a passing perspective, I think there was some things that they wanted to see him progress on, and maybe that didn't happen as much as the bigger D1s would have wanted to see, but that's why, you have a school like Marshall that's willing to invest in the kid and really work with them. And, I think it's a great fit for him. And I think ultimately I'm very excited to see where he ends up there.
Real quick, and again, I know we haven't discussed this name, Brendan McDonald from Alter. Have you followed, what's his trail like right now? I know CJ Hicks, by the way, really got to see him just absolutely explode in the game against Trotwood, and Brandon McDonald had like a 300-plus yard game and 5 touchdowns against Trotwood in the playoffs. It was unbelievable, but that game right there had to get the attention of a lot of teams out there. What are you hearing about his future?
Yeah, so Brandon, I've talked to him quite a bit in the last couple of weeks. He has had a lot of interest on the D1 side, but none of them have come through with offers at this point. And so he is actually looking to reclassify as a 2022 and go to a prep academy over the next year and try to work on himself and get that D1 opportunity down the road. And so, yeah, I wish Brandon the best of luck. And I think, the talent is definitely there. Like I've said, sometimes it's just a matter of seeing the right person seeing you, or this or that. And for whatever reason, at this point, it hasn't happened. But like you said, the production's there. He's a solid built kid that's honestly from a physicality standpoint ready to play college ball now. But he's going to take that year and try to work on himself as a player, and hopefully he can realize that dream over the next year.
Last thing is we send you out, and again, we have Jared Luginbill with us here on the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash, National Signing Day, and Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone Ohio calling in and hanging out with us a little bit here this afternoon. I know it's about this year's National Signing Day, but Chase Harrison's a name I'm going to be keeping an eye on a lot moving forward. What are some of his options right now as we head into his senior season?
Yeah, Chase is getting looked at by several D1s. He's our highest ranked quarterback in the 2022 class. I know as of late, Louisville has come on with interest in him. And so, yeah, big body kid again and a good athlete. Sometimes you see the bigger kids a little slow of foot. With Chase, that's not the deal. He's gonna be able to maneuver in the pocket, has the arm strength necessary to make the big plays. And like I said, I think this summer camp season is where he's going to have a chance to really start, getting his name out there on the bigger ends of the college spectrum, and just coaches being able to see him throw live, see him in person. Hopefully, if those camps do happen this year, that's going to be, I think, where the offers will start coming. And so there's been I can't name all of them, but there's been a lot of interest in them. Just offers are, when you follow recruiting, you get to realize that it's really a follower mentality. Once one or two schools start offering, then you'll have a few more schools in that same conference offer, and then you'll see a couple of schools in another conference start offering. It's almost like they don't want to be the first one to offer. They kind of want to keep it on the down low because they don't want other teams to find out about them, which is kind of silly. But, it's crazy how, and then especially with your big time prospects, once one blue blood, in Alabama, a Texas, a Florida, Ohio State offers, then all of the offers start flooding in. And so typically that junior to senior off season is where those kind of offers will come in if they're going to get them, or maybe it's a case where it's middle of the pack Big Ten type team, or whatever their ceiling is as far as offers are going to go is going to come in that time, and then they'll a lot of the top prospects want to commit by the first game of their senior year. And the trend now, like you talked about it, Kev, is signing in the December early signing period and actually getting enrolled for spring camp to be able to try to maximize those 3 years if they want to go play in the NFL or start playing, starting time as quickly as they can. So that's kind of where things are going.
All right, Jared Luginbill, Prep Redzone, Ohio, good enough to join us here on National Signing Day, giving us the latest on some of the top names here in the Miami Valley. Jared, thank you so much for your time. We'll be having you on more in the future. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
All right, good stuff there. Again, National Signing Day, a lot of big names that we just discussed.
Yeah.
I'm talking about Cam Fancher, but Chase Harrison, who I'm really excited about seeing where he ends up. Louisville's been looking at him for a while. But yeah, we did more Centerville games than anything over the last 2 years. Just the convenience of it being down the street. Yeah. By the way, you got a shout out from Mr. Craig Miller. Craig Miller says, Mr. Q's, Mr. FSU, missing you around the building, my guy. Hope all is well.
Chilling, man. Trying to stay safe.
All right, folks, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash live here on Dayton's ESPN radio station. Well, we've been waiting for this. Remember I said 2 weeks between the Super Bowl, 2 weeks between the AFC, NFC title games and the Super Bowl was stupid. Mm-hmm. The NFL tested their luck. It's Wednesday. And big news coming out. Again, the Chiefs are already banged up on their offensive line, which is pretty important when you want to have your star quarterback, Patrick Mahomes, just ball out. Well, a situation has come up that could be impacting the Chiefs even more come Sunday, and it could even impact Patrick Mahomes. We'll discuss next. It involves a barber. See, you don't need to get your hair cut before the Super Bowl. Bad things happen when you get your hair cut, I guess. This is ridiculous. It's not the Chiefs' fault. It's not Patrick Mahomes' fault. This is the NFL's fault if this ends up snowballing into something bigger. I'll explain next.
It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio. ESPN 1410 Wing AM weather.
This afternoon will be partly cloudy, a high near 32. Tonight's going to be mostly cloudy, a low around 20. And tomorrow will be mostly cloudy with rain, a high near 42. I'm Pete Spivak for 1410 ESPN Radio.
Weather is brought to you by Cullet Propane. 98% of their customers recommend Cullet. If you wouldn't recommend your current supplier, check them out at culletpropane.com.
Attention Class A CDL drivers. Looking to be more than just a number? Yoel Transportation in Dayton is looking for drivers with at least 1.5 years experience. Yoel has open positions for no-tarp flatbed drivers and no-touch regional or local van drivers. Yoel is ELD compliant and offers 401k with match, medical, dental, vision, holiday pay, vacation, safety bonuses, and now has a rider policy. Call Rick or Joe at 937-294-5933 and ask about the $5,000 sign-on bonus today.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A new Grilled Spicy Deluxe is that cilantro lime sauce that goes on it. That's just an extra kick, a flavor explosion.
Hi, I'm Catherine, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Grilled Spicy Deluxe is the spiciness of the chicken and the coolness of the cilantro lime sauce. It's the best of both worlds.
Chick-fil-A's Grilled Spicy Deluxe Sandwich, available for a limited time only. Real guests paid for their testimonials.
Frank's Red Hot is the perfect blend of flavor and heat. That's why you can use an entire bottle to make buffalo chicken dip, the kind you might make for when you're watching the game at home. And maybe this year there's less people around to watch the game with. Yay! But that just means there's more dip, and it's all for you. Some of you may say, that's too much dip. But deep down in your heart of hearts, you know it isn't. So go ahead. Finish it. Frank's Red Hot don't judge. Frank's Red Hot. I put that on everything.
First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 WING. Order your Valentine's Day bouquet now at 937-223-1213 or online at firsttheflorist.com. FURST. First Florist and Greenhouses.
For the ones finding new ways to ensure the job always gets done. For the ones wearing many hats. For the ones who are hands-on, even from far away. And the ones keeping business moving forward. We are Grainger, offering supplies and solutions for every industry, with 24/7 support and experienced staff at over 250 local branches. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Menards has the flooring you need to give your home a fresh look. Check out our great selection of Shaw flooring. Durable laminate flooring can be installed over most floors. Repel Cumberland laminate flooring is water resistant, making it good for any room in your home. Plus, it's available in 3 unique wood grain finishes. It's only $2.19 a square foot now at Menards. Sale prices are good through Saturday, February 13th.
Save big money at Menards.
There's nothing better than a fresh-made home-style meal, but not everyone loves the hassle of cooking. At Lee's Famous Recipe Chicken, home-style happens here with our famous 12-piece family meal at a great price. This famous family meal includes 12 mixed pieces of Lee's fresh, never-frozen chicken that is honey-dipped, hand-breaded, and cooked to perfection, plus 3 large sides and 6 fluffy biscuits. Get a home-style meal made easy today with Lee's 12-piece family meal at a great price. Only at Lee's, famous for chicken.
Looking for a career and not just a job? Then Dayton Progress is looking for you. Dayton Progress is the leading international manufacturer of tools and tooling components for the metal stamping industries and has immediate openings for entry-level machinist. No prior experience is required, and Dayton Progress will train you, starting with the basics. They offer competitive wages with merit increases after 90 days of employment. They also offer private health care, including vision and dental, free life insurance, a contributory 401k, bonus programs, promotions from within, company service recognition, and 100% tuition reimbursement to local state colleges. Dayton Progress is a great place to work and has been a Dayton landmark for over 70 years. Apply today by emailing your resume to jobs@DaytonProgress.com. That's jobs@DaytonProgress.com. Dayton Progress is an equal opportunity employer.
If I'm not commuting anymore, where do I really want to live?
While you handle life's questions, Merrill Guided Investing helps you manage your portfolio and invest for your next move with the option to work with an advisor at a low cost and minimum. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/investing goals to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated, both a registered broker-dealer and investment advisor, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Chrissy is refinancing her home, so she shopped around for the lowest rate and found it at Amerisave.com, setting her up for a lifetime of savings. It's one decision she'll never regret, unlike wearing tap shoes to a surprise party.
Sorry, guys. Just trying to find the perfect hiding place.
Pretty regrettable, Chrissy. Unlike finding that low mortgage rate at Amerisave.com that's got you on your way to a lifetime of savings. Amerisave's rates won't be this low forever, so go to Amerisave.com now. Lower mortgage rates mean higher savings. Call 866-514-SAVE or visit Amerisave.com/licensing for cost information, terms and conditions. Equal housing lender. Licensed in all states except New York. NMLS number 1168.
Remember, customize and save with Liberty Mutual Insurance Company. Only pay for what you need at libertymutual.com.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Buckeye fans, every Monday night at 6 p.m., make sure to keep it locked in right here on Dayton's home of the Ohio State Buckeyes for the Buckeye Roundtable Show. Paul Keels and the crew will bring you the biggest Buckeye headlines on the football field and on the hardwood. It's the Buckeye Roundtable Show, Monday nights at 6 p.m. on 1410 ESPN Radio. On Twitter, make sure to give us a follow. Search 1410 Kinner for Justin Kinner on Twitter. That's 1410 KINNER and ESPN Dayton for the station Twitter handle.
Justin Kinner, Kevin Nash back with you here on 1410 ESPN Radio. If you want to win a free dozen roses in a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses, head to Facebook, search The Justin Kinner Show, and you must like and follow the show page to be eligible to win the free dozen roses and a vase. We'll be selecting the winner on Friday. We will be selecting the winner from those who like the show page. So again, there'll be multiple winners, but you have to go and like the show page and follow along. You can see the video feed there. Share that. Again, you could potentially win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses. And gentlemen, it's important that you do this because Valentine's Day is coming up around the corner. Don't wait to the last moment to go get her a gift. Make sure you take advantage of this opportunity to win, a free dozen roses in a vase. You're going to spend money on her anyway, so you might as well get the roses for free and then, get her something even bigger. I mean, really go all out. But again, it's as simple as liking the Justin Kinner Show page on Facebook. Everyone has Facebook. Head there now, search the Justin Kinner Show, like the page, and you could win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 Wing AM. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. And I've been waiting for a story like this for a while. I didn't want this to happen. And again, it's nothing major as of yet, but it has all of the makings of a complete and total disaster, right? So ESPN's Adam Schefter tweets out about an hour ago that, again, this Super Bowl 55 coming up this Sunday, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Kansas City Chiefs. There were over 20 Kansas City Chiefs players and staffers, including quarterback Patrick Mahomes, Kev, that were scheduled this past Sunday to get a haircut with a barber who tested positive for COVID. So, and this is, of course, according to sources, the Chiefs acted wisely and aggressively pulled the barber mid-cut once his test results came in. Mid-cut. Now, here's where it gets concerning. The Chiefs are already down a few offensive linemen heading into this Super Bowl 55, right?
Right.
And the player that was mid-cut, that they pulled the barber, and I don't know how they fixed the rest. I don't know if you just shave it and go bald and fix it later. But it was the center, Daniel Kilgore, was mid-haircut when the barber was notified that he was COVID positive. Kilgore and the barber were both wearing masks. Kilgore has to stay home this week, but he has tested negative and will return on Saturday. And then he could fly with the team and play on Sunday per source. But look, let's be clear. The week leading into the Super Bowl, and talking with Keith Byers, who's played in a Super Bowl before, he said the one thing, he goes, don't forget that Super Bowl Sunday, yes, it's Super Bowl Sunday, but the Super Bowl is more than just one day. The Super Bowl is an experience. From the time that the clock hits zero in the AFC or the NFC championship game, it becomes an event. You are now gearing up for the Super Bowl. So it's unfortunate that this guy right here Kilgore is not going to be able to even participate in the fun in the week leading into the Super Bowl because of this isolated incident. The problem is this is my biggest complaint from the beginning. From 2 weeks ago, a week and a half ago, the clock hit zero on the NFC and AFC title games. Why there was 2 weeks between those games and the Super Bowl is beyond me. It should have been last Sunday. We should have been using this week to talk about who won the Super Bowl this past Sunday. Last week, no issues.
Right.
All right. And by adding an extra week, and that's how it is on a normal year, well, guess what, folks? We're not in a normal year right now. Things aren't normal. There should have never been 2 weeks. As of right now, it's okay. But this has the makings of the beginning. Like, if it does unravel, we're going to think back to this day when this news broke and say, what a complete S show. Because this is totally avoidable if you just play this Super Bowl this past Sunday. Now, sure, something could have happened last week, but guess what? If it happens last week, you push it back to this Sunday. It makes zero dang sense to me why they had to have the 2 week break in between. It is what it is. And hopefully nothing continues to unravel and snowball from this. But again, it's crazy. And you said, too, the NFL said they're playing no matter what.
Yeah, this is ridiculous. And if this goes the wrong way, there's a ton of people on the Chiefs that end up testing positive for COVID and don't get a chance to play in the Super Bowl, and the NFL pushes forward and plays this game. Disaster. Complete disaster. You lose all faith in your fan base. Your fan base is going to turn on you. The viewing public is going to turn on you because they're going to be watching the sham. This isn't the Super Bowl. This isn't what we're having watching Super Bowl commercials for, and in a normal situation having gatherings at our home and everything like that. They want to see Mahomes, Brady. They don't want to see Henny, Brady. You know what I mean? Like, they want to see
Henny,
the stars.
is he the guy that beat the Browns in the playoffs?
They want to see the stars go out there and play football. And yes, I know some big time players don't get the chance of playing in the Super Bowl because of injury. The COVID ain't an injury. This is something that, a league should be doing their best to try to put their best players on the field for their most important game. And the NFL chose not to do a playoff bubble. They chose not to do a Super Bowl bubble. They chose to keep their 2-week timeline, to keep their precious little schedule. Everybody's been forced to move things around except the league. The league has been stubborn about this. And obviously, I hope that all the guys that were exposed to this barber come back COVID negative and are able to play on Sunday, and we have a great game and everybody's safe and all that good stuff. But
or the virus just take a little longer to mutate. That way, you test positive on Monday, but just try to get in as many negatives before Sunday.
You already know. We saw the rumors about Clemson, about them stop testing a week out from the Ohio State game. And, we saw those rumors come out. So you never know.
How about the World Series when you had a player who knew they had tested positive and still just went out on the field anyway, and baseball did nothing about it? Absolutely not, because, season's over. Who cares?
Terrible.
It's ridiculous. Jason Pruitt, who I believe, he's a Chiefs fan. He has the Chiefs logo in his Facebook profile. He says they should have played the game this past Sunday. I agree. I'm not just saying that because, last week nothing happened. Last week,
you were saying that the Monday after the championship games.
Now, something could have easily as happened last week as this week. But my point is that if it would have happened last week, you can move it back. And I'm not saying you still can move it back now, but it's just the point that the ego of the NFL to sit there and act like, we're 2 weeks. Why would you get more time is bad. Everything's being moved up. Mm-hmm. I mean, the NBA is playing less games to move, which is why we'll get into how stupid it is to add an exhibition game on top of that. The NBA, who have been very complimentary of, they're stupid for trying this All-Star game, but horrible. That's we talked about that with Jay Will a little bit ago. But what I mean is last week something easily could have happened. But you know what? That's out of your control. And when you're sticking to your 1 week between, at least by moving it up 1 week, people would have said, man, that sucks. They moved it up to try to, prevent more time from going on between games to have this happen. So yeah, it's just one of those things, man, where this could have been prevented. And there's maybe nothing happens, but if it does, it's going to be a problem. Ann Anderson says, how important is a friggin' haircut? I like how she said friggin', like Friggi, friggin'. I haven't had a professional haircut in almost a year. My husband has been cutting mine with his beard trimmer. I've been paying him in services rent. Whoa, okay.
Yeah.
She played LOL too. He has done a fantastic job. I may never go to a hair salon again. So there's that.
Well, let me think. My wife's birthday is in July. So from I want to say from March to July, I didn't have a haircut. Got a haircut because we went to a wedding and it was the wife's birthday. So I got a haircut in July. Then I got another haircut in August because we ran home while the weather was still good to see our parents. And then I didn't get a haircut in between there until Christmas. And I haven't had a haircut since Christmas. Now, in a normal world, I get a haircut every other week. I want a normal world to come back. I need a haircut desperately. I hate this. I hate my hair like this. I need a haircut bad. But yes, haircuts are important. But in a situation where it's COVID, I can wait.
Yeah, see, people have said that they tune into the stream and have to tune it out because Kev's hair is just it's unbearable.
Well, it's not horrible right now, but give me another 2 weeks. It's going to be the in-between stage where I can't brush it anymore. Then I'm going to have to start picking it and combing it, and it's just going to look wild.
I just wear a hat. I'll just wear a hat, but yeah, I just go with the simple buzz cut, man. It's simple with the fade. It's simple enough, but no, man. So again, nothing could end up coming out of this, but do keep an eye on that. And again, to sit there and say, well, that center, Kilgore that's out, he just can't. He can't be around the team this week. I mean, that line's already beat up.
Right.
And keep in mind, I'm already getting this sent into that this is just the NFL protecting Tom Brady. Let me be clear. You want to know who the biggest asset in the NFL is right now? It's not Tom Brady. It's the quarterback that's potentially going to get screwed over in all of this if this ends up taking out more teams. It's Patrick Mahomes. If the league was going to protect anybody, it's going to be Patrick Mahomes. It's not. Tom Brady has done enough. There's nothing more Tom Brady could do for the NFL. Tom Brady could win the next 2 Super Bowls. His legacy, he's already the GOAT. it is what he's already the GOAT. Winning one on Sunday will just solidify it even more. Winning one next year will solidify it even more. It's his legacy is intact no matter what moving forward. Even if he gets a back-to-back Super Bowls and loses both of them, it's not changing. He's still the GOAT. I mean, what he's done is unbelievable. So he could do no more for the league. The league is not benefiting any more from what Tom Brady. In fact, the league is saying, man, we kind of like this.
Our new star.
We like these new, not just new stars. I mean, you look across the league, there's young quarterbacks everywhere. If the league was going to protect anybody, it is going to be Patrick Mahomes, and they're not. Not trying to defend the NFL here. They're just equally stupid, no matter who the quarterback is that they're protecting one way or another. I just don't see them. This isn't them protecting Tom Brady. This is just them being egotistical and sticking to what they've done to teams all year, which I've been fine with. I've looked at those situations with the Ravens and Browns and others as isolated situations where there's a lot of teams in the NFL, and it only happened to a handful of teams that were big, impacted by it. If we're talking 6, 7, 8, 9 games on a weekly basis, that every week it was something, then the NFL I thought should have done something. I actually like that they didn't panic. Major League Baseball, the very first weekend, they had games canceled, and the Major League Baseball, we might just pull the plug on the whole thing. It's like, Jesus, let it breathe a little bit.
Yeah.
Let it breathe. And Major League Baseball did. It got better. You had isolated situations, which led to the early teardown of your Cleveland baseball team, of course. But the bottom line is that it all ended up working out at the end. The NFL, it all worked out at the end. But this game, this is your baby.
But again, the one.
Money talks. You want to know what their baby actually is? The Super Bowl commercials, the TV networks. That's all. I mean, a game will be played on Sunday, regardless of who's quarterback. It doesn't matter because their money comes from the commercials. Their money comes from the viewers, which might be less, but you got to think significantly less viewers of the Super Bowl is still 10 times more than any other programming out there throughout the years.
So you don't think any adverse effect would happen if they went on and played the game and there's no Mahomes, no Tyreek Hill, there's no Travis Kelce? Like you don't think they'll have an adverse effect on how fans view the NFL?
I mean, if I'm the NFL,
in the long term, in
the long term, for one, I'd be upset with the NFL if something happens to anybody. It doesn't matter if this Kilgore guy ends up missing it because of it. I think that's one too many being missed because you wanted to wait 2 weeks between championship games and this. But obviously, it's easy to say the stars. If a star gets it and you're going to miss, you should push it back. I don't know. I just think as big as Patrick Mahomes is, the NFL saying, yeah, but we still got Tom Brady. We still got stars in the game that are going to carry it. It's still going to be interesting to see if the Chiefs can compete and blah, blah, blah.
They'll go on to the shield thing that they always fall back on.
Oh, yeah, because they're all about integrity and everything, right? The NFL, I tell you. All right, 457-9464. And see, I'm getting another one. They're protecting Tom. 457-9464. Folks,
I need more reasons than they're protecting him. Why would they protect
How are they
Brady?
protecting Tom Brady? Again, nothing's happened yet. Nothing's going on that they even need to push back the Super Bowl. That's not what we're saying. But this situation that has happened where there was 20 Kansas City Chiefs in line ready to get their haircut that day, the barber in mid-cut for Kilgore, the center for the Chiefs, they pulled the barber in mid-cut. And they're testing daily Kilgore to see if he tests positive. He's been negative so far. All I'm going to say is that right now there's nothing to push it back for. But if it happens, if Kilgore tests positive, if key guys like Patrick Mahomes and others test positive and have to miss the Super Bowl on Sunday, yes, I think that they should entertain the idea of pushing it back. I just don't think that they're going to. But to act like, that they're protecting Tom Brady, if Tom Brady catches it, I don't even know who the hell the backup quarterback. I only know Henny was the backup quarterback. I didn't even know who the Chiefs' backup quarterback was until Patrick Mahomes goes out in the game against the Browns. Who the hell is the backup quarterback? Is it Brad Johnson? I mean, who is the backup quarterback for the Tampa Buccaneers? Ron, if you're a real fan, you'll chime in right here.
Is it Bortles? No, Josh Rosen is, I believe.
That's not a bad backup. If that's your backup, it could be worse.
Google machine.
It could be worse.
Blaine Gabbert. Bortles.
Blaine Gabbert versus
same dude.
Chad Henne, Super Bowl 55.
The matchup we all anticipated.
I mean, you got to start looking at Leonard Fournette against, Le'Veon Bell
running the Wildcat.
Holy smokes, man! It's gonna that would be hideous. But no, I don't think they're protecting Tom Brady. But 457-9464. If this situation happens, what should the NFL do? But you talked about that article that came out on ESPN. The NFL, no, we're not. We're sticking to what we want. We will not push back the Super Bowl.
Fun fact: LaShawn McCoy is going for a personal back-to-back Super Bowl because he is a member of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, where he won a championship last season. LaShawn McCoy.
Oh yeah,
he played with the Chiefs last year, got a Super Bowl. Now he's with Tampa Bay.
Hey, he knows how to follow him. How about this? Tampa mayor makes playful push to rename the city Tampa Bay if the Buccaneers win the Super Bowl on Sunday.
Oh, boy.
The mayor is pushing to rename the city Tampa Bay. You do that for a year. You do it for a year. You don't rename it permanently moving forward. I mean, act like you've been there before, folks.
And
don't be like the Cleveland Browns, who, by the way, I'm going to rip the Browns. This is down. I put it on my Facebook page. Did you know that there's a commemorative coin that was made to celebrate the wild card win over the Steelers?
T-shirt, yes. Coin, no.
Do whatever you want. You can put anything on a T-shirt. They can put our show logo on a T-shirt for all I care, which, by the way, we should do that. But the fact that people are spending, it's $30 for this coin. And it's a coin and has the Browns helmet versus the Steelers helmet, the date that they made, the score on it. It looks like what you do when your team wins a Super Bowl and there's the Browns. Oh, on this date, we beat the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. I'm like, that's sad. If you act like you've been there before, I know it's the Browns and they haven't, but at least pretend, blend in. I know you're new money, but blend in. My goodness. Oh, my goodness. By the way, Ann Anderson says that, hey, Kevin, put your significant other to work. See, if you services rendered.
I'm not touching that.
Be nice. Ann Anderson also says, hey, ladies, why am I the only female that interacts on this program? Aren't there any other women who are sports fans? Sometimes I feel I'm the lone female listening. So there you go. It's a good point. I like in the female point of view from time to time. What do you consider?
Just her and Pam.
Now, Pam called the one time to yell at you.
Yeah, she got at me because we were talking about Detroit Lions football, as we keep proving we know absolutely nothing about.
There you go. All right, we'll be back in a moment. More of the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash when we come back. Services rendered.
Hilarious.
Listen, stream, watch. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash right here on Dayton's ESPN Radio, 1410 Wing AM.
Procter & Gamble, the company behind some of your favorite brands like Tide and Charmin and Pampers, is now hiring entry-level technicians at the Dayton Distribution Center. P&G is offering a competitive pay rate of $16.44 per hour for 8 and 12-hour rotating shifts, plus an additional per-hour rotating shift incentive. P&G offers a comprehensive benefit package on day one, including medical, dental, and 401k. For more information, visit pgcareers.com. Search for Dayton and apply today. Procter & Gamble is an equal opportunity employer.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on.
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
Beachcombing, baking cookies, learning French. Aren't these what you'd rather be doing than thinking about your Medicare prescriptions? Well, Walgreens is here to help you get back to it with convenient refill and pickup options, expert pharmacists to answer all your questions, and Medicare copays as low as $0. Zero. Which is also the number of cares in the world you'll have as you stroll the beach, eating cookies and speaking French. Oh la la. Walgreens.
$0 copays apply to Tier 1 generic drugs and select plans where Walgreens is a preferred pharmacy.
Buying some pretzel sticks?
Excuse me?
This is your wake-up call from TracFone Wireless.
Okay.
What if you didn't eat all those pretzel sticks by the end of the month, so this store took them back?
Good luck.
That's how some wireless companies are with your data, but TracFone Wireless gives you unlimited carryover data with active service, so you keep what you pay for. Plans start at $20 a month.
Wow, that's cool.
Sir, are you bothering the customers?
Yeah, hang on.
This is your wake-up call, people. TracFone Wireless. Now you're in control.
Available at major retailers. See terms and conditions at TracFone.com.
The law offices of Lake Maceland will fight for you. Call 444-4444. Want more fight? More attention? More compensation? We've recovered millions in auto and injury cases. We don't know what your case is worth until you call.
One more call, 444-4444. Lake Maceland.
Spending more time at home? There has never been a better time to invest in your home. There is nothing better than a home theater or high-fidelity music system from Audio Etc. Can't get to the big game? No problem. Audio Etc. can bring any game home. It's better than being there. 4K is amazing, but just imagine the 8K experience. Come to Audio Etc. today and experience 8K TVs and projectors. Surround sound? You haven't heard surround sound till you hear Dolby Atmos 360 degrees. Put you smack dab in the middle with 11.2 channel surround sound. Audio Etc. has the brands, the deals, and the excitement. Audio Etc. powered by Klipsch, Bowers & Wilkins, SVS, Marantz, Denon, Sony, and a whole list of high-performance brands that you've probably never heard of. Stop by and experience the crazy cool showroom, the top brands, excellent service, and knowledgeable staff. Audio Etc. 551 Congress Park Drive at the corner of Paragon in Centerville, or call 434-9770.
Audio Etc's crazy cool showroom.
Hello, it's John Kozik, founder and president of TurboTrack Realty, and I buy houses as is, fast for cash. Call me today for an all-cash offer on any of your properties, and we can close within days at 614-362-2000, 362-2000. Do you own a property that's outdated and needs thousands of dollars in repairs? Great, I'll buy it. I'm a private real estate investor who can solve your real estate problems fast for cash. Do you want to sell and just be done with it? Okay, great. I buy vacant properties, boarded up houses, pre-foreclosures, and inherited properties. I also buy apartment buildings, rental portfolios, divorce homes. I even buy my tenant won't pay me the rent houses. I look forward to solving your real estate problems today. Give me a call for an all-cash offer at 614-362-2000, 614-362-2000.
Cordell Transportation is now hiring Class A CDL drivers for home daily dedicated lanes, a $2,000 sign-on bonus, medical, dental, and company-paid life insurance. Call Cody or apply online at CordellTransportation.com. Cordell Transportation, driven to succeed.
Is the cost of finishing the basement worth the benefit of some peace and quiet?
When questions find you, Merrill Edge Self-Directed Investing can help you find answers with personalized planning tools and insights to help you get where you want to go, even if it's just downstairs. Merrill, a Bank of America company. Visit merrilledge.com/withinreach to get started today.
Investing involves risk. Merrill Lynch, Pierce, Fenner & Smith Incorporated. Registered broker-dealer, member SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Liberty Mutual Insurance Company customizes your car insurance with Right Track, which rewards you for safe driving.
As the world's most careful driver, that's perfect. Now applying 2 pounds of force for acceleration. You're really turning in 0.3 miles and begin deceleration.
With Liberty Mutual's Right Track, you could earn up to 30% savings based on how you drive. Sign up at libertymutual.com/righttrack.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Discount on participating vehicles. Base coverages only. Availability varies.
Don't overpay for glasses. Get 2 pairs and a free exam for just $69.95. That's not just a better deal. It's America's best. Book your exam online today.
Dayton Flyers basketball fans, don't miss Talking Out Loud with Sully every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Game recaps, game previews, visits from former Flyer greats, and more. It's a show by the fans, for the fans. Talking Out Loud with Sully, Thursday nights at 6 p.m. Wear red and be loud. Whether you're at home, at work, or in your car, tune in to ESPN 1410 Wing AM or stream us live at wingam.com.
All right, Kev. All right, Kev. All right. I'm Justin Kinner. He's Kev Nash. We are back right here on 1410 ESPN. Right? My God, this is my first radio show. All right, Kev. I mean, come on. I need to know what I'm doing here. What is wrong with me? So we welcome you back. It's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash. We're with you live here on 1410 ESPN Radio. So we're days removed from this. This is how much content we've had on the show that I haven't even been able to get to everything I've been wanting to get to. Major League Baseball Players Association rejected Major League Baseball's proposal. Again, this is a few days old, but I wanted to, bring this up to, what this means. 162 game season will officially start on April 1st, Kev.
Okay.
162 game spring training camps begin February 17th, which, by the way, today is the 3rd. That is not too far off in the distance. I mean, hell, the 17th. Valentine's Day is a week from Sunday, which, by the way, if you would like to win a free dozen roses and a vase to give to your significant other this Valentine's Day, which is a week from Sunday, make sure you head to Facebook and like the Justin Kinner Show Facebook page. Again, win a free dozen roses and vase from First Florist and Greenhouses. Tune into the Justin Kinner Show weekday afternoons to have an opportunity this week to be able to win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florist and Greenhouses, the official florist of ESPN 1410 Wing AM. We're, again, every day this week, we are urging you to go and like the Justin Kinner Show page, because on Friday, we're going to go to all the likes and follows on the page. We're going to generate a winner, randomly selecting a winner to win the free dozen roses and a vase. So make sure you like the page. Head there now. Head to Facebook. Like the Justin Kinner Show page on Facebook to have an opportunity to win a free dozen roses and a vase from First Florists and Greenhouses. But as I mentioned, with Major League Baseball Players Association rejecting the proposal, Kev, it's interesting. I thought this would be reversed. I thought that the players would be asking to delay the season. Mm-hmm. I thought that the players would be concerned. And it's the league. This is how backwards baseball is. Like, if you're asking to delay the season, it's because you don't know what you're doing right now.
Right.
And that's a problem, and it's a bad look. This is a business at the end of the day. We ripped the NBA and the NFL and others for being too cutthroat with their business, right, Kev? Man, I can't believe the NBA, the bubble worked, and they're just throwing teams back out because it's a business at the end of the day. Like, they're going to do the right thing as much as they can, but they still have to operate under business protocols, right? Same thing in the NFL. We ripped them for being too cutthroat, but guess what? They're about to crown a Super Bowl champion on Sunday. All right, the NBA has an NBA champion. They're already deep into season 2. If you are a professional sports league, why are you trying to play less games? Why do you want less of your product out there? Why do you want to delay the start to your season? Get out there and get your product out there, because right now of all the sports, you look the weakest, you look the most unorganized, and you look the most chaotic, and you look the most embarrassing. Major League Baseball has a problem. Why are they can have their reasons as to why they want to delay the start to the season, but it doesn't mean that they're good ones, because you should have solutions. I always say solutions, not problems. All right. I've had bosses like that say, if I go into their office and say, hey, so we have a problem with this, and this, he gets mad. No. What are you going to do about it? Mm-hmm. I don't care about tell me what the problem is and what you're going to do about it, or what you think you should do about it. That's Major League Baseball right now. I don't want to hear, COVID's a concern. No kidding. It's a concern for everybody. But just like at our job and your job, for you listening, your job and everyone else, there's a solution. Doesn't mean it's bulletproof, but it's a solution. Major League Baseball, stop trying to delay the season. Get it going. 162-game season starts on April 1st. Spring training just under 2 weeks from now. No expanded playoffs, Kev. No universal DH. 26-man rosters for 2021 with 27-man rosters for double headers. So there you go. That wraps it up today. I'm very excited for baseball to start. As much as I just ripped it, I'm hating the league. I don't hate the sport. I hate the league. The league is so wrong, man. Like they have no clue what they're doing. The league, like I can see if the players are saying, no, we're not stepping foot on that field until you have a better safety protocol for us, better testing. I would expect that, not the league saying, oh yeah, we shouldn't start right now. Everyone else is. You are going to start on time. They're a horrible business. They're embarrassing. I hate Major League Baseball. I love the sport. I hate Major League Baseball. They are ass backwards, man. All right, closing thoughts.
I agree with you. This is backwards, and I say that Major League Baseball was most affected by COVID because not only did they delay their start last year, but also their villain in the Houston Astros, we weren't able to hate them as fans. We weren't able to have them come to our stadiums and boo them and all that type of stuff. I think them having a villain like that could save baseball. As crazy as it sounds, like everybody can gang up on them, because everybody's not going to gang up on the Yankees. The Yankees are a national brand. So many people love the Yankees, but everybody outside of the Houston Astros was going to root against them. And I think baseball is missing a prime opportunity to have their villain out there to be booed to help their sport.
And have a proper punishment for the team that cheated and made the sport look bad.
That's not going to happen.
All right, folks, have a great night. If you missed the interview with Jared Luginbill with Prep Redzone, Ohio, talking National Signing Day for all of our local signees here in the Miami Valley. You don't want to miss that. Go back and check that out. Great stuff. He's very knowledgeable. He knows so much about our local area and a lot of the great players in the area and where they signed and kind of who was looking at them, and including players who have yet to sign for future years. But we're going to be having him on more here in the coming months, again, as we head into the summer. Have a great night, everybody. The Jay Williams interview is available as well. Subscribe and download the Justin Kinner Show podcast in your Apple iTunes and Google Play Store. Until tomorrow, it's the Justin Kinner Show with Kev Nash on 1410 ESPN Radio.